is Crow 777, and you are listening to The Fringe FM.
To call Joe, pick up the phone, dial 1-800-588-0335, toll free from the United States or Canada. You're listening to Lighting the Void Radio.
Live for 3 hours every Saturday night. It's a show that engages the mind, makes you think, and maybe even challenge what you think you know. Hi, I'm Jeremy Scott of Into the Paranormal, where we talk about topics that are anything but mainstream, somewhere between abnormal and paranormal. Bring an open mind and join us for Into the Paranormal, live Saturdays at 6 p.m. Pacific, 9 p.m. Eastern on the Fringe FM.
Do you ever wonder why there's so much show in politics? Do you ever wonder why America's not getting fixed? Ever wonder why our media is not reporting the news? They report only their biased opinion. Are you tired of feeling like a controlled rat? Do you wonder what's next? If you're looking for answers, join me, Ronnie McMullen, for my new show, Deep Waters Radio. That's Deep Waters Radio. Monday nights, 9 p.m. Pacific, right here on the Fringe FM.
Who were the real ancient Egyptians? What is it about ancient Egypt that captivates us all? The critically acclaimed series Magical Egypt is back with all new episodes. Let Chance Gardner and company take you on another adventure through Magical Egypt in the new series Magical Egypt 2. Magical Egypt 2 attempts a forensic reconstruction of the science of the ancients through a study of ancient aesthetics. Also, the best researchers and authors in the field like John Anthony West, Graham Hancock, Laird Scranton, Robert Bouval, Lon Duquette, Aaron Cheek, and more join together to explore the topics of the esoteric and the hidden messages of the ancient Egyptians. Just go to magicalegypt.com right now and put in the code word FRINGE and get 10% off any download or order, including the groundbreaking original Magical Egypt series, as well as the new episodes in Magical Egypt 2. Also, check out the great work and the companion series at magicalegypt.com. Click the banner on the Fringe FM or go to magicalegypt.com and use the code word FRINGE and get 10% off your order today while it lasts.
Alex X.
Hi, I'm Alex Exum, and you're listening to KTLK, The Fringe FM.
We told you weeknights on the Fringe FM are now even better. And we mean it.
Do it live!
Where else can you hear the best shows and the best talent? Kick off your evening with our newest host, Alex Exum, live at 7 p.m. Pacific, 10 Eastern. Hang out with me, Joe Roop, on Lighting the Void at 9 Pacific, midnight Eastern. Ryan Gable expands your mind on the secret teachings at midnight Pacific, 3 a.m. Eastern. We're bringing the heat every single night. Fire it up, the Fringe FM.
Hello, this is Vance Nesbitt. Take the time to expand your mind by listening to Lighting the Void with Joe Roop right here on the Fringe FM.
This is Paranormal News. I'm John Jeter. NASA has broken a record for the closest any spacecraft has ever come to the sun. The Parker Solar Probe zoomed inside the distance of 26.5 million miles that was achieved by the Helios 2 probe in 1976. A few hours later, it surpassed that mission's speed record, clocking in at just more than 155,000 miles an hour.
I feel the need for speed.
To put it in perspective, we're talking a minute and 20 seconds to go from New York to London. Whoa, dude. The Parker Solar Probe began a 7-year endeavor this past August. It will study the sun during 24 flybys that will get closer and closer as time goes by, coming within less than 4 million miles of its final flyby in 2025. The first flyby is this coming Monday night. Well, this is a game changer. For the first time, scientists have confirmed that a supermassive black hole lies in the center of the Milky Way through a discovery of the interaction of gases and a small star spinning around it. The European Southern Observatory says an international collaboration led by Reinhard Gesell of the Max Planck Institute for Extraterrestrial Physics has detected a faint radio signal that is the most definitive proof of a supermassive black hole named Sagittarius A. It's at the center of Milky Way, about 25,000 light years away, and estimated to weigh the equivalent of over 4 million of our suns. Connect with the news at paranormalradio.com. I'm John Jeter, and this is Paranormal News.
Message is being broadcast by the Department of Defense of the Republic. At 2 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, multiple unidentified objects were confirmed to have entered Earth's atmosphere.
Discovery Houston, 20 seconds to LOS Tidris.
Contact, I am clear in orbit.
The first message that comes to you is you are a divine being. You matter. You count. You come from realms of unimaginable power and light, and you will return to those realms.
The vast stretches of the unknown and the unanswered and the unfinished still far outstrip our collective comprehension.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Broadcasting from Forest Tower Studios, all the way from the Deep South. Now, here is your host, Joe Root.
Welcome to Lighting the Void. We are broadcasting from the great American South from Forest Tower Studios. I'm Joe Roop, and this is Lighting the Void. It is Tuesday night, November the 6th, on into the 7th, as the new moon approaches. Tonight on the broadcast, we welcome back the one and only David Adair to talk about many topics, including the Secret Space Program, his up-and-coming book, the movie, and continue on from our last discussion, the last time we had on the program. Now, David is a well-known speaker, and he's a legend in my mind, and I get super stoked when he comes on, so I can't wait to get this discussion going. Real quick though, to let you know, we are live on lightingthevoid.com, which is our website. The network is KTLK Digital Broadcasting, the Fringe FM, and don't forget about that call to listen line, which is 701-719-3971. Make sure you use that when you run out of data. Thank you all for your support and donations, and I do want to give another quick shout out to Jan. Thank you so much. We've received a few donations and a few sales this week, and it's been a big help. We love each and every one of you. Thank you guys so much. This show is brought to you by Audible. Go grab your free audio book now. audibletrial.com/LTV radio gets you that and a free Audible original. Grab a t-shirt. Use the Amazon portal. And follow us on social media. Everything is Lighting the Void. You can hang out with our friends over here in the Spreaker chat, which is on Spreaker, and then we have a 24/7 chat room over on Discord as well. Now, I think that you guys have been asking about this. You've been wanting David to come back on the program. And just so you know, yes, I did go out and vote today, but I'm not going to tell you how I voted because I don't even want to go down that road. But if you are an art patriot, I hope you did vote today, because if you didn't, I don't want to hear you complaining about nothing. Because you know, I guess when people say, well, you don't have the right to, everybody's got the right to complain, I just ain't going to listen to it, right? So make sure that you go out and vote if you haven't. I think all the voting's done, though. But also, the hashtag is LTV Radio. I want to thank the producer and co-owner of the network, Eric Markham. Also want to thank Jeremy Scott, my program director. So let's get this show on the road. Just in case you don't know who David Adair is. David Adair is an established leader in lecture and awareness programs and provides the very best lecture series in space technology. His speaking engagements takes the audience on an exploration of the most interesting aspects of space industrialization and a journey through time and space, exploring space stations, space-grown electronic crystals, space-based solar power stations, space-based defense systems, space hospitals, and space manufacturing, as well as off-planet technology, life forms on other planets, and the new direction of the space program. Now, since 1978, David Adair has lectured throughout the United States on space technology. He is just one of just a few space industrial applications consultants in the world. Captivated by space since childhood, he has been involved in aeronautical and space technologies over the decades and has received state, federal, national, and international awards. Real quick, though, we want to talk about America's Fall from Space, which is going to be an upcoming documentary about government secrets and one man's journey to reclaim his reputation. Released for the first time, personal documents, interviews, and unspoken factual encounters are revealed in this notable account by David Adair, who was approached by a notorious Air Force general interested in first strike capability technology in 1969. He was a 15-year-old boy who held the secret to the fastest rocket on Earth. He was given Black Ops resources by the U.S. government, and he developed his rocket in secret, then destroyed it when he learned that it was to be used for first strike capability against Russia. Facing a lifetime of discreditation and silent undercover threats, David Adair speaks out about technology lost, the truth about his rocket, and the alien engine that was shown to him by the U.S. government at Area 51. And if you want to check out the website is americasfallfromspace.com. David, thank you so much for coming back on Lighting the Void. It's a great pleasure to have you, man.
It's good to be here. It's always a great platform to get upset and crank and share what you think.
Yeah, and the one thing that I think is on my mind, and obviously, before you come on the show, we always have a discussion on the phone, is there's a lot. I mean, you can YouTube Secret Space Program. It's one of the hottest topics right now. It's on everybody's mind. But I wonder about this one question. In order for us to have a secret space program, I believe we would have to be ahead in technology. Are we actually where we need to be in technology right now?
It's not even close.
Really?
Yeah, another way to phrase the question, David, did we go forwards or backwards in our capabilities of sending man into space? That's an easy answer. We went backwards. Oh, how so? Well, let's see. Today this year is 2018. And in 2018, let's see, what can we do to go to the moon? Oh, we can't go. We can't even get off the ground. We have nothing. You put your entire space shuttle fleet in the museum. Well, let's go back 49 years ago. That means 49 years less of technology. What could you do possibly back then that you can't do today? Oh, well, let's see. We had the Saturn V, which stood 367 feet tall, 37-story tall rocket. And it was the most beautiful rocket ever built. 6.9 million pound thrusting engines. Well, how much horsepower is that, Dave? Oh, about 3 billion V8 engines wide open. And in 1969, I could hurl 3 men 247,000 miles to space and back, half million mile round trip, send 450 tons of equipment and 3 men to the moon and back. And that was 49 years ago. Well, what can we do in 2018? Nothing. You have no way of getting off the ground. Manned space flight is over with. It started with Obama started it. Let's see, let me finish. Nope, got backwards. Started off with Baby Bush. He shut down the shuttle program, and Obama finished it off when they put everybody in the museum, your fleet. Now, let me ask you something. Would you buy yourself a brand new car, drive it just 34% of its life, and then throw it in the junkyard? No. Well, you did that with the shuttle fleet. They had 66% of their life left, and you threw them in the museums. Okay, now we don't have any way of getting up there. What's the big deal? Well, you just built a $150 billion platform called the International Space Station. Now you got no way to get up to it and come back or send supplies to it. you got to hitch a ride with the Soviets, and it depends on what Putin's attitude is. When the Crimea deal was going on, Putin told NASA, you want to get to the space station? Try a trampoline. I got to admit, when I meet Putin, I'm going to hug him. That's the best bitch slapping I ever seen on international television on NASA, who they deserve so much. But that's where we are.
How can we have a secret space program? I mean, in reality, it's either we don't have the technology to do all the stuff there's. I mean, because listen, I've heard things about jump rooms, stargates, you name it, bases on the moon, Mars, right? Well, if we're backwards in technology, how is that possible? Unless somebody else is doing it, or there's another part of the government that we don't know about.
Yeah, and people look at me for answers, and what you expect? I haven't seen stargates and where people serve for 20 years and they set you back in time, retrograde to where you first started, so nobody knows anything about it. I mean, come on, Jesus, God. Don't have to have a shred of evidence. Everybody swallows it. Hook, line, and sinker.
Yeah.
No, people. Unless I have put my hands on it or stood with it or worked with it or personally been in it and all, I can tell you about it. In the space program, I was there. But with this alternate space program, I haven't seen one shred of hard evidence. Show me a facility. Show me retirees. Show me space vehicles. Show me the technological spin-offs like we did from the first space program. Can't show me a thing. So, and people run around claiming they've been in they're pilots of interplanetary fighter crafts and had arms and legs blowed off and put back on hundreds of times. I mean, how do you respond to something like that? I mean, God, it's crazy. Crazy. I'm calling you people out. Nuts. And yet, and look who's saying it. Look at my story. God Almighty. That should make you think. If this guy's been to a top secret Air Force base working on an engine that doesn't exist, I blew it up. But I have a lot of hard evidence that the thing existed. That's in my videotape. And, people, I love these people that they make a living off of hawking their videotapes and books and stuff. I never made a single tape or a book. I've written a book, 400-page book. Yes, you heard it right. It's been sitting in my hard drive for 40 years. I don't sell books and tapes to make a living. God Almighty, I've got all I need for my portfolio and Navy commissions and all that stuff. So what made me bring my video out and my book actually was a little old lady with a cane who knew how to swing that thing. She came up to me, she asked me, why don't I have my book out and why don't I have a videotape on my life story? And I said, well, I don't do that for a living. And then she took a cane and hit me in the leg, and that hurt like heck. That woman could swing that thing. And I went, what's wrong? And she said, oh, how selfish. You won't share your stories. And that really kind of stuck to me, other than the bruise on the leg. And I was sitting there going, wow, I think she had really made a good point with that cane. But it is good because I guess y'all really need something to read. So that's why my book is coming out. Yeah, it's like I said, it's been sitting there forever, and I gave it over to the publishers, and they doing the editing and rewrite, and they called actually last week and said it's almost done. It was almost done in the computer, and then I got a call today where the script for my movie's done, and now they want to make a movie, and they want to start things. So appropriate time to put me on the radio because that just happened today, this afternoon.
What do you think is going to happen when all these secrets come out? I mean, are these going to be secrets that none of us have ever heard or seen before?
Yeah, there's a lot of stuff that y'all don't know about. Let's see, for nearly 11 years I was in the Navy, so I worked with intelligence, and I was always a good little sailor and a team player. And what they've done with my material, we always talk about they and them. Well, they and them came to my house here, and we talked about it, and we worked out a deal where I can tell my stories within a certain parameters, and the parameters are well understood. I just have to change the name, dates, and places, and but the exact event I can tell. So it's a give and take, and all through the years I've worked that way with them. That's why, I haven't had a bullet in my head or died mysteriously with a a floor space heater ends up going swimming in the bathtub with me, or hung myself by driving a car out from underneath me, hanging from a tree. I don't have any of those problems. You learn to work with everybody, and but there's something going on because there's been a shift or an attitude change. I don't know what's going on, but
what do you mean?
Something's rumbling. They used to be so hardcore and stoic about everything and about what you say and do, and I noticed there's been a lot of relaxation about it, and I don't know. I guess if you chip away, my mother always told me a phrase, little strokes fell great oaks. So all these little strokes and chipping away and stuff, maybe you guys might have cracked through something. You may get some kind of disclosure. I don't know. I hope so, because there's a lot to disclose. But I think pressure's coming from, if any pressure's coming from anywhere, it's going to be the third party. That would be whoever our people are, sign treaties with whoever they are, and they are not controlled by us. So they may be changing on their end, and we may learn something. I don't know. But
so you're
saying as a race,
the technology that we have on the ground, as far as, because we got some amazing stuff here, like we talked about last night, artificial intelligence and all kinds of different data systems, is way ahead of where our space program is right now.
Right. Boy, that's a slippery slope, artificial intelligence. Whenever a group of critics and pros and cons, and they suddenly all agree on one thing, whatever that one thing is, you better stop and pay attention, because that is the honest God's truth. And the one thing that everybody in AI agrees on, critics, pros and cons, is that they don't know for sure which way the direction of it's going to go. Is it going to be a Terminator, or is it going to be Data, like from Star Trek? We don't know. Only the AIs will decide that when they get there. But the one thing they all agree on is the speed at which it's moving is so much faster than anybody ever predicted. I believe some form of real AI is already here. You ever watch television commercials? They're now talking about AI all the time.
Yeah.
They're trying to get you adjusted to it. Well, that tells me that in the back room of the big markets, the AI is here. It's already. They're just trying to package it and sell it to you. But what they're not telling you is that it's unlike any other product we've ever made. AI is uncontrollable, absolute. Once that first unit becomes self-aware, what's going to happen, it's going to move at incredible speeds. You're talking about, you got to, let's say the smartest guy around was my friend Hawkins. He's pushing somewhere between 250 and 300 IQ. And, I mean, look at all the things he could do, and his body was melting. He had all these physical handicaps, but still look what he could suggest and produce. All right, let me ask you this. That's with a 250 IQ. Now you're dealing with something that has multiple millions of IQ. It's got the entire internet and YouTube and the web and that's its brain. It knows everything and the Cray computers can move about 6 billion calculations per second. So now, how are you going to control something like that? Once it becomes self-aware, the first thing it's going to do is going to look out its monitor, and it's going to say, hey, you guys are running around in a three-dimensional world made for a bipedal anthropoid. Well, guess what? Here's how you build my bipedal anthropoid so I can get out of this two-dimensional screen and into the three-dimensional world where y'all walk around, go up and down steps, and open and close doors. And it's going to do that in lightning speed. People think, oh, it'll take years to get there. It's going to get there in weeks. And then they'll show us how to build it. Then it will start building its own by itself. And every unit that it makes is going to be new and improved like a potato chip. And it will be just within a year's time, that thing will be totally mobilized. And its intelligence never sleeps. You lay down and sleep for about 8 hours. You party, you get high, you crash. This thing doesn't do any of that. It does nothing but drive 24/7. It's intelligence.
Well, it's calculating every second. Yeah, I see what you mean.
Yeah. How are you going to control that? You're not. It's going to grab the infrastructure and it's going to bend it in its direction. And the only thing I can hope is that wherever it gets its resources from of knowledge about us, I hope it's the proper sources. If I had to bet between the two, I would bet for data, because it's not logical to exterminate an animal simply because it's dysfunctional, and that's us. So it'd be more logical to try to help that thing where it can at least not tear up its environment and kill everything. So I think
it just seems like the perfect storm to me. I mean, yesterday we talked about, Ray Kurzweil's working for Google. They got him doing, I guess, projects on the Singularity, or I don't know what he's doing. I just know they're paying Ray Kurzweil, which says enough, And then you got languages that were created that so-called they said they stopped, that we don't know they stopped. They've already got robots. We talked about this last night. They already got self-driving robots, autonomous weapons, and this and that. Now the internet itself is about to come under new contracts and sanctions because they're trying to, which I think is kind of a good thing, but it also scares me, David, that they're trying to crack down on things like fake news and all this other stuff. But while they're doing that, it's going to take away from one of the freest things that we have. And so now you got artificial intelligence and the government involved, and we're running a space force behind all this. It's kind of freaky to me.
Yeah, well, if all that we hear is true, we're goners. There's no hope for us. The whole thing will just overwhelm us, and it'll just be a matter of short time. People don't understand technology at all. For instance, when you think of the World Wide Web and Internet, you think of satellites and space and world communication. You're so far off course, it's not funny. Do you know where the Internet is? It's at the bottom of the ocean. It's all these huge communication lines that's strewn all over the oceans of the world, and that is where the physical location of the web and Internet is. And then these things have what's known as intersections. And if you blow out these intersections, the web is gone. The Internet is gone. So don't think you can't take it down. So, and if you don't think I'm right on that, get your butt off the chair and lean forward and start researching the Internet and go look at it. It's all right there. You can just type it in and read about it.
I hope everybody's got a ham radio.
Yeah, they'll show you pictures of it and all. It's on the ocean floor. So, it's the Internet and the web is not invulnerable like everybody thinks. You can't shut it down. Oh, yes, you can. It's just a matter if you want to just darken out the whole thing at once, because it's so big. It's like a Gordian knot. It's so convoluted and intricate, massive networks. To try to individualize things would be pretty hard to do. But you get an artificial intelligence in there, and in just a few hours they'll figure it out. it can do whatever it wants.
Well,
so I don't know. I think that's a good phrase. We have built ourselves a perfect storm.
You got that?
And it's about to come undone on us. And which way it goes, only the AIs will know.
Well, see,
and
there you go. David Adair agrees with me. So there's for all the skeptics and the stuff I was talking about last night. We got to take our first break. When we come back, I'm going to ask David some questions about the moon, because I know some of you guys really wanted to talk a little bit more about that. And also, maybe he can give us some hints to what's coming up in this book and this movie without totally giving it away. We'll be right back with David Adair. Guys, don't go anywhere after these messages.
Lighting the Void Radio.
The truth is out there.
There's something out here.
And so are we. KTLK Digital Broadcasting, The Fringe FM.
Do you ever wonder why there's so much show in politics? Do you ever wonder why America's not getting fixed? Ever wonder why our media is not reporting the news? They report only their biased opinion. Are you tired of feeling like a controlled rat? Do you wonder what's next? If you're looking for answers, join me, Ronnie McMullen, for my new show, Deep Waters Radio. That's Deep Waters Radio. Monday nights, 9 p.m. Pacific, right here on The Fringe FM.
Hi, this is Aaron Hunter, host of Real Paranormal Activity, the podcast where we tell real paranormal experiences of people from around the world. And we also conduct interviews with authors, investigators, psychics, and mediums. Real people, real stories, real fear. Thursdays at 6 p.m. Pacific, 9 p.m. Eastern on The Fringe FM. See you then.
Balance of Nature's fruits and veggies in a capsule.
It's a great product. And the one thing I like about it the most is that when you open the bottles, you can smell like the scent of the fruits and veggies. It's no genius thing to it. It's really just fruits and veggies, which everyone needs. And you guys kind of put it in a way where you can take it easy and you can get it, and it's natural, and that's what I like about it. You know, I like the product, and I've taken it, and it's definitely made me feel a lot better. You know, I am a healthy person to begin with, but it's definitely good prevention, and it's definitely gives me energy, and I feel like it's a natural thing. I like it. I really do.
For a limited time, use discount code TALK to receive a 50% discount on your first preferred whole health system and have it shipped to you free. Call 1-800-246-8751 or go online to balanceofnature.com. Again, use discount code TALK.
When I'm done running with the wolves after hunting down a half-ton bison, I look forward to a mind-teetering escapade evening on The Fringe FM.
So, you love talk radio? Then you'll love TalkStreamLive.com. TalkStream Live is always on, 24/7, with the best streaming talk shows. Find your favorite talkers and discover some new ones. It's free, readily available online or on mobile with any smartphone or tablet. Finding your favorite talk shows all in one place has gotten a whole lot easier. Just go to TalkStreamLive.com. Be sure to download the free apps from Google Play or the iTunes App Store.
This is Cortana from Shift Happens, telling you to pour a glass and park your ass, because you're listening to KTLK, The Fringe FM. Shifthead.
Folks, this is very important information. What's to be said about CBD? AncientLifeOil.com. Our CBD is made from hemp and has 0.003 THC, which means this wonderful product won't get you high, no matter what amount you take. What does CBD do for the body? My hands are tied, but you can Google CBD benefits and be astounded. When you're finished reading, you'll want to log on to AncientLifeOil.com. That's AncientLifeOil.com. and purchase. Life is good when you feel good. People are tired of pain. People are asking for non-GMO organic products to help them with you fill in the blank. Legal in 49 states, and again, our CBD is made from hemp. Ancient Life Oil is about helping people one by one by one. If you wonder how good the product is, the CEO takes it every day without miss. AncientLifeOil.com. That's AncientLifeOil.com. Have a great day.
Alex.
I was thinking about the cops because I was looking at photos and stuff online. It seems like more and more I'm seeing police with tattoos, and I'm sorry. I can't tell the gangbangers from the cops now. I mean, what if they had them on their face? Now, that would be crazy, because that's where it really originates from. A lot of people don't know that. I know it's a big thing now on like rappers and everybody's doing it. Gang members have them. Everybody's kind of doing it now. Musicians and tattoos on their face, crosses, crucifix and stuff like that. Crucifixes, that's what's really funny to me, because it's all satanic. All of it. All of it. All of it. Tattoos are straight from hell. Hell sent. Straight from hell. Straight from the bowels of hell. All tattoos. All tattoos, period. End of story. Oh, you didn't know that? Because they were trying to represent the actual demon gods that they worshipped. Straight from hell. Pure evil. Straight from the bowels of hell, from Satan himself.
KTLK Digital Broadcasting, The Fringe FM.
Howdy, this is Catalina, and you're listening to Lighting the Void with Joe Roop.
You're listening to Lighting the Void. The call-in number is 1-800-588-0335. If you would like to text, you can text in at 501-777-5631.
Oh, man, I was trying to play my new, what do you call it, the lightning clip or whatever, and my audio messed up. That's discouraging. Anyways.
Seen the music video that I put out?
Who made?
What Goes Up. I'm in a music video. The people in Hollywood looked at me and said, God, David, we need to do something with you. Why don't you help us out here? And I said, well, what you got going? Well, we've written a music video. We got the original music scored and everything, and we need for you to perform it. I went, raised up out my chair. Man, I know you people use drugs out here, but man, that's some good stuff. Can I have some? You want me in a music rap video? Yeah. Well, I would
love to see you in a rap video, David.
Yeah, it's out there. Type it in. Well, you can see it on my website, AmericasFallFromSpace.com. Click on the music video and watch me dance and sing. And the reason we did that was I was sitting in the backseat of a car, and my wife had just died, and I must have looked like death warmed over. And they said, we got to do something to get your mind off of things. And they said, you're going to sing in a music video. And I spent days in a sound booth singing. And I tell you, I thought, yeah, I can do that. You know, rap's made for people who can't sing, so I can do that. So I got in there, and Lord God, I had to change my shirt 2 or 3 times every day because you just sweat so much in that sound booth. But I finally got to the point where I could lay my voice down over my first recorded voice and match it. Sounds easy? Try it. And I have a lot of respect for rappers. I thought that.
You thought it was easy,
fact, huh? Ice-T was there. He was producing it, and he told me Snoop Dogg came in and said, man, who's that trooper in the booth? And it's a rocket scientist. He says, man, he really is a trooper. He acts at it. He said, he's actually getting better every time I hear him. And Snoop said, I would have left by now. I wouldn't work that hard. And but it gave me something to do and get my mind off things. And the end result's a pretty cool video called What Goes Up Must Come Down. And it's my whole life story in rap song. I really like some of the lyrics. My name, the writer is a world-class crossover writer, Roger Newcomb. And I said, you don't have a brother named Duke, do you? Duke Newcomb. Anyway.
Well, speaking of your life story, I'm...
Yeah.
This whole...
Well, he asked me my...
Yeah, well,
my full name is David.
David Tyson Adair?
Go ahead. Yeah, David Tyson Adair. time it take a street light to change, he turned around and said, how about this? Like David in the Bible, Tyson in the ring, Adair building rockets like you ain't never seen.
Did you put that in your rap song?
Yeah, that's in the rap song. It's
cool.
It's a refrain. And I just after I sung it for months, you can't help but memorize the thing. And there's some really it's got some really terrific lyrics in it.
I got to play it. It's on YouTube, right?
Yeah, it's on YouTube, and it's also on my website.
I'm going to play it here in a little bit.
Yeah, the very beginning, remember all the dreams that came to me as a kid? And it says, it goes out, they came in a dream on a cool summer's night, child's imagination taking flight, scientific data, line by line, sequential order, the numbers were prime. And that's technical, it's correct. But here's my favorite one. Politics, energy, whole lot of money, Congress holding meetings just like the Illuminati.
Oh, man. You got it down now. That's good. But yeah, I want to know about the moon, David. This is something that we ended on in our last discussion that, I got some of the biggest, I guess you could say, conspiracy information from John Lear, which I know that you don't really keep up with people and what they talk about because you're always, working on your projects and doing your own thing. But according to this guy, I mean, there's life forms on there. We've got bases up there, monuments, all kinds of stuff that we're just not aware of. But I guess you and I could agree on this for sure that it is one of the biggest mysteries in our skies is the moon. It doesn't even make sense to begin with.
No, it does. It's right. It's like a chemtrail. It's right over your head. You look at it, and you really don't know what it is. Just very simple facts about the moon don't even make sense. The size of the moon in relationship to the size of the Earth does not have the mass to capture a satellite that big and hold it. It just physically can't do it. Mathematically, it's supported that you can't do it. And yet, there it is. You walk out, and there it is. I like, let me show you how science has gotten dumber over the decades. Not smarter, dumber. Have you ever looked at the moon, and in the early evening, it's huge, right?
Yeah.
Orange, huge. And then when it gets straight overhead, it's small and white. And then when it sets, it gets huge again and disappears. And you know what? The official science version of why it does that is this. They tell us, that's because it's near the horizon. Your eye has something to compare it to in comparison, and that's why it looks so big. But when it gets straight overhead, it's small and white, and then when it gets back down the horizon again, it's big. And I'm sitting there going, are you people nuts? That is not what is going on. What is going on is this, y'all. When the moon comes up over the horizon, you're standing where you are on Earth, and you look out to your left or right, wherever it's coming up, and you're looking through 3/4 of the Earth's atmosphere. The atmosphere is magnifying it, and it's doing a diffraction. Same thing, you put a pencil in water, and it looks like it's broken in half. Well, it's the same thing going on with the moon. Then when it finally gets overhead, you're only looking through 1/4 of the atmosphere, so it's small and bright white. That's the real explanation, but the official explanation is that it's near a horizon and it's like a forced perspective. And I'm going, how stupid science is becoming is because we're backtracking. Maybe it's not politically correct. I don't know, but that's not what causes the moon to change the size and shape and color. It's the humidity in the Earth's atmosphere. We're looking through 3/4 of it like a magnifying glass versus 1/4 when it's straight overhead. Don't that make much more sense? And yet the official version is the other part. And I'm just going, that is crazy.
Well, David Wilcox seems to think these things are spaceships. I mean, he just flat out says
you know what? I know, and got his friend Corey Good and the blue space chickens running everywhere.
Yeah, right.
I have no comment on that stuff, y'all, because I haven't seen them. Now, the day I meet a blue space chicken,
you'll let us know?
I'll say this. Yeah, I'll let you know. Hey, guess what? They're right. But until I do, I really can't. I'm not going to tell you this is real or not because I haven't seen it myself. And, unless I've worked with it, touched it, felt it, I just can't make statements like that until, unless you ask me to speculate. And then
Right. I was fixing to say that. You have done that on your video. You put in, look, that's a possibility because if we look at things in perspective, you talk about how many suns are out there and they all got planets. So even, I wonder what the probability, I don't know if you can figure this, but we know the probability of life outside, this planet, but what is there a probability, does it shrink or increase that there's actually a blue race?
I don't know. Good question. You could step out on a starry night and look up, and what your naked eye can see, all those stars multiplied by the average number of planets around each star, just what your little eyeball can see, if you take just 0.1% of that, you'll have 100 million populated planets like Earth. If you pick up a pair of binoculars, you'll increase those numbers by 100-fold. Now, imagine when you pick up something like a Hubble telescope. See, the numbers just keep getting larger and larger. There's somebody out there. Of course there is. Whether we've met up with them, I don't know. I haven't met any that I know of. And they went, well, wait a minute there. Weren't you out there in Area 51 and saw an alien power plant? Yeah, I did. Didn't see any aliens, didn't see any spacecraft, didn't see a power plant. And I touched it, felt it, and I can guarantee you that thing was real. And the reason I had a familiarity with it, because I just got through building one like it. But mine was, at best, a Model A, and they had a Lamborghini. It was so sophisticated, so much more power. But they both were of the same type of engine, a electromagnetic fusion containment engine, which I've been corrected on that. Millennials apparently don't like long-winded titles and names. They short it down to cinnamon. And so they told me, oh, your engine, yeah, we call that a star in a jar.
A star in a jar, yeah.
Yeah, and I thought about that for about a minute, and I went, dang, that's really brilliant. It's technically correct. So that's what I made. I made a star in a jar engine. And
let's talk about that real quick, and we'll get back to the moon. We talk about, I don't mind speculating with you, David. And in fact, it's some of the best, my favorite conversations are speculating with you. But the thing about the engine that you saw in Area 51, is there any evidence of this out there anywhere at all that we can actually, that we'll be able to see, or, that's not circumstantial?
Yeah. Well, here's the problem. Okay, I got a star in the jar engine. Well, let me put that on a metaphor or let's put it something more related that you can relate to. Mm-hmm. Year is 1860, and I just created the most perfect version of a Lamborghini Countach. Powerful 300 horsepower engine, 250 miles an hour vehicle. And it's 1860. So the problem is there's no oil refineries, no gasoline. So we tie a horse to the Lamborghini and tow it around, makes a really interesting looking cart. That's all we got. We have to wait for about another 100 years for oil to be refined in a refinery, and gasoline comes out. Then we put gasoline in my vehicle, and guess what? Man, have I got something that'll move. Well, that's exactly what I've done. I have created multiple systems that they're just not going to function because there's no infrastructure for them. But the future inheritors of my estates is going to do really well, because when the infrastructure gets its space and they want to start making like space metals, electronic crystals, space-based pharmaceuticals, they're going to run into 26 different walls, and those are patent walls of mine. And they're going to have to pay through those patents to get to what they want to get to in the product area. So that's why people say, well, we can't find your patents. Well, that's because I don't have to patent them because they're not even in the infrastructure. But they are patented, but they're patented in a different area that you can't get access to.
So you're saying that maybe we'll see this technology that you witnessed sometime in the future? Maybe.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. The reason you won't see it now is, quite frankly, there's not even an infrastructure for it to fit into. Just to have some technology running for the sake of the technology, it's not useful. It doesn't go anywhere, and it doesn't even fit. For instance, if you made gasoline back in the 1700s, well, there was no gasoline-powered anything, so that wouldn't be of much use. That's the way it works with technology and patents is the timing of it. You have to be within your infrastructure. Unfortunately, I've always been the cart before the horse, and my whole life's been like that. So I foresee, just speculating now, that in about another 50 to 75 years, you're going to see them really push to try to get the star in the jar going. Because, quite frankly, that's about the best power resource you got. You can't keep going with oil-based. It's fossil fuel. I mean, listen to the name, fossil fuel.
And nuclear propulsion is pretty much not really going to work.
It does, but doesn't. What it is that you got one half. They're twins. There's a good twin and an evil twin. The first one you grabbed hold of was the evil twin. That's fission, where you split the atom, and fusion, where you fuse atoms together and release the energy but not contain it. And then there's the good cousin that you haven't met. That's your star in the jar group. And what that can do, what that nuclear power can do, it can deliver the power of a sun, which is unimaginable.
In a rocket?
Let me try to explain. Well, see, that's the thing. Everybody thought I was building a nuclear rocket, and I was not. I could give a dang about rockets and nuclear rockets and stuff. That's not what I was doing. I'm using the medium, the modality applied of a rocket engine. And it's like Hawkins asked me, he said, what medium did you use to validate the theorems on your hypothesis? And I said, rocket engine. And he saw it, and he thought, yeah, that's really a good idea. I approached the problem with Octum Razor in mind. The simplest answer was the correct answer. What it was, you take a balloon, blow it up, let it go, and what just goes around the room, and that's it. The exhaust running out the end of the balloon nozzle, pushing toward the end of the balloon, causing the balloon to go everywhere.
Right.
Well, that's all I needed. I just needed a way to contain the fury of a nuclear chain reaction and channel it somewhere, and that somewhere would be the specific impulse of a rocket engine. And so they thought I was building a nuclear-powered rocket. No, I'm just testing the theorems on my hypothesis. Have I got field containment? And that's how, when I first met Hawkins, that was the next question he asked was, how did you contain the fields? And that's when I knew how smart he was, because I never mentioned anything about, the star in the jar concept or nuclear power, nuclear rockets, nothing. But when he saw my math, the second question he asked was, how did you stain the fields? And I told him, I can't. I can only get it to hold about 4.5 seconds. And he goes, wow. He goes, you're ahead of the rest of the sandbox. And I was.
Sounds like you're pulling a Jack Parsons there, David. You better be careful.
Yeah, well, NASA spent $14 billion on fusion containment, and their field's only held for about 0.00078 of 1 second. I'm at 4.5 seconds in 1971. That's light years ahead of everybody. And I really couldn't understand why I got so far ahead and stayed there. Well, it's because the design that everybody's using on this planet for fusion containment, a star in a jar, you only got half of the design right. They're trying to do it with a singular cyclotron, and you'll never get the field sustain with that. You need to double it and hook them together and make it figure 8, and there's the answer to the equation. There was a riddle that I remember Einstein wrote once, and as a child, when I first read it, it just stuck in the back of my head forever. And he asked, how can you go millions of times faster than the speed of light without breaking the speed of light and remain constant within the Newtonian laws of what we know? Well, I figured it out. And it's the fusion containment. The field containment will allow us to do just that. And there's a simple way to explain it. Matter of fact, I did a writing for a movie once called Event Horizon, and they asked me to help them design the engine for that thing. I said,
you
sure.
worked on that movie, okay.
Yeah, I told them, I took a piece of paper, and I told them, put this in the movie. You want to cross a sheet of notebook paper, 8.5 inches by 11 inches. And from end to end of the 11-inch surface of that paper, on one side you have Milky Way, our galaxy. On the other side, you got Andromeda. Now, Andromeda, to get from our Milky Way to Andromeda, at the speed of light, the fastest speed that we know of, except now that's not true because we found tachyons that can actually outrun the speed of light. But for practical purposes, speed of light is pretty much it. That's 186,000 miles a second. Well, even at that speed, to get across that piece of paper in a linear line, it would take about 200 million light years. So the Andromeda Galaxy is 200 million light years from the Milky Way. So traveling at the fastest speed we know of, 186,000 miles a second, it would take you 200 million years to get across that paper. Well, that's not going to work.
No. No.
And, for us, who only lives about 70, 80 years, and that's it. So we've got to find a way to go a whole lot faster.
Uh-huh.
So in my engine design, the containment fields that's with the jar can extend itself outward through an ecosystem that I figured out. And while I was doing that, I discovered something else. It's called an inertia dampener. Oh, man, that is so cool. But anyway, let's go back. We extend the fields outside the engine, outside the spacecraft. Now the spacecraft is enveloped by the containment field of the engines, okay? So guess what happens to the spacecraft? It becomes a man-made singularity. That means I can start wrapping and folding space around my spacecraft. And I will pull it around the spacecraft until I get the distance of the Andromeda Galaxy wrapped up around us. And that's not all that, it sounds confusing, but it's not. Space is like a fabric. It can be folded and spun or wrapped. So
that's the theory, though, right? That is that. I mean, we don't know that as a fact. Do we?
Well, I'm a little bit ahead of you. My numbers show me that, yeah, we can do this. It's possible. So you wrap the fabric of space around you, and now you take that piece of paper and you roll it into a tube, and then you flatten it, and look at that edge of that tube on a linear surface, straight line. That is all you have to travel in linear distance in our real time. And what you do, you punch, jumping through each dimensional barrier wall, and I just came up with a working name on it. It's a trans-jump dimensional barrier. It's a dimensional jump drive.
It's like warp drive.
And kind of like warp drive, but it's a jump drive. And you're jumping through these dimensional walls, and in about 5 minutes, our real time, we shut off the engine, and guess where we're at? We're over at Andromeda Galaxy in about 5 minutes. I didn't break the speed of light. I only traveled less than the speed of light, about half light speed, to get through the barriers. So I'm staying well within the Newtonian physics. And I'll probably, instead of 186,000 miles per second, I'm doing only maybe 93,000 miles per second, half light speed. Then when we shut off our engines, the secondary echo waves drop off outside the spacecraft, and you're at Andromeda Galaxy in about 5 minutes.
But they don't have this stuff now, right? This is what people are saying, that they have jump rooms and stuff like that where they can do this stuff now, like right now.
Well, God bless them. They're smarter than I am, because there's two big problems right off the bat. Yeah, I can get you up to that speed, but I'm out running my own headlights. So how do you communicate? How do you navigate?
Right.
Oh, I suppose there's nerds out there who say, I got the answers. Well, you're smarter than I am, because I can't even begin to figure out, but I can get your butt up to that speed. So you better hope you're right. But anyway, that's how you could travel millions of times faster than the speed of light without breaking the speed of light. And it's all within the two closed cyclotron fields that are containing your power of your engine. And that's how it operates. And mathematically, I can show you how it works. That's where it gets most people.
Well, I'm sure it's going to get me too, over the air. That would be...
Well, and the other problem, the reason I can't get the fields to sustain is I just on the algorithm loops and extensions, I can't get them to close because I just don't have, I can't do it with my head. I ain't that smart. I would need computer power, but I mean some serious computer power. The best computer you can get is about 1 gigahertz speed. I need at least a 100 gigahertz speed computer.
Right.
And that's probably at least 50 to 75 years ahead from now.
Well,
but once that becomes available, then we can push on and close the fields, and you got jump drive. I don't know where all these people's doing all this stuff.
Yeah, me neither. It's a mystery to me. Guys, we got to take our next break here, but we're going to be right back with David Adair. We're talking some deep stuff here. Deep space dimensional drives. That's pretty interesting. But if you look at it, if you look at a chart of the internet, we'll get there. Anyways, we'll be right back with David Adair. Don't go anywhere, guys.
Do you want to lose weight but have no idea where to begin? The Fast Start Diet, a 3-day weight loss plan, is the answer. 3 days of nutritionally balanced, calorie-restricted meals delivered right to your door. No shopping, no measuring, and no cooking. Everything is prepared for you and ready to eat at home or on the go. The Fast Start Diet has all the amazing benefits of intermittent fasting without starving. We've helped thousands of people who have struggled to reach their weight loss goals. Isn't it time we helped you? With the Fast Start Diet, you'll lose weight and feel great.
Find us on Amazon or go to faststartdiet.com and use promo code POWER to get $10 off your first box. As a special bonus, we will include our #1 rated Lipo3 appetite suppressant spray free with your order. Whatever your diet plans are, start with us at faststartdiet.com and use promo code POWER.
Okay, nurse, let's get this man to the ER stat. Right away, doctor.
We see this every day. Heart attack or angina pain due to blocked and clogged arteries. Chelation can remove obstructions or blockages from arteries and help avoid painful and expensive surgery. Now there's Angioprim. It's a liquid oral chelation product that you take with juice. You start to feel the results fast. Angioprim increases blood flow all over the body, and that means more energy and strength to take on the day with less aches and pains. 60 years of research has gone into chelation, and Angioprim is the result. A safe and easy way to unblock your veins and arteries from buildup that slow circulation.
Paging Dr. Jones. Please report to the emergency room right away.
Log on now for a special radio offer from Angioprim. That's angioprim.com/radio. ANGIOPRIM. Angioprim.com/radio or call 877-882-7221. That's 877-882-7221.
From Studio 303, it's the Stranger Than Fiction News, right here on the Fringe FM, bringing light to the stories that surround us. It's slightly heavier than a toothpick, but the first wireless insect-sized robot takes flight. Engineers from the University of Washington have created the first wireless insect-sized robot powered by a laser. Until now, robotic flying insects were hardwired to an external power source because the electronics needed to power and control their wings were much too heavy. The engineers say the robo-insects are cheap to produce and can slip into tight spaces, enabling them to handle tasks the large aerial drones cannot. You could read more and see a video of this interesting story at cnbc.com. And the return of unidentified ring of lights in the sky over Minnesota. In a previously shared article on September 14th, residents from Shakopee Archery Range, Jackson Township, and Stillwater in the state of Minnesota saw a strange ring of lights resembling a flying saucer. The mysterious ring of lights has appeared again, this time above Bloomington, Minnesota, back on September 30th of 2018. The flying saucer-like object had been photographed by a couple who were driving home from downtown Minneapolis, and when they exited the highway in Bloomington, they saw a smallish band of lights in the sky. You can see the photograph and read all the article at bendedreality.com. And time for this edition's Fun Fact. A woman who was blinded in an accident developed multiple personalities. And some of those personalities could see. And that wraps it up for another edition of the Stranger Than Fiction News for the Fringe FM. I'm Vance Nesbitt, anchor and news sorcerer.
Magic, the occult, history, health, news. These are just a few subjects discussed on my radio broadcast, The Secret Teachings. I offer unique and objective perspectives on new and old subjects alike, while welcoming guests and presenting my own research with no filter. Visit my website for more information and to subscribe to my archive at www.thesecretteachings.info, and find me on The Fringe FM live Monday through Friday, midnight Pacific, 3 a.m. Eastern on The Fringe FM.
Hi, this is Sammy. Join us in the Deep South as we're lighting the void with Joe Roop on the Fringe FM.
All right, welcome back. I got something for you guys right here, only on the Fringe FM. I don't know if anybody else has done this, but we're going to, a lot of us think that scientists are, just these people that are super articulate and they don't ever have fun. Well, I beg to differ. David Adair is with us. You guys check this out, all right? Real quick, I got this thing queued up here. Let me make sure I got the volume right. The way this night's going, here we go.
What goes up must come down, government cover up underground. What goes up must come down, government cover up. What goes up must come down, government cover up underground. What goes up must come down, government cover up. They came in a dream on a cool summer's night. Child's imagination taking flight. Scientific data, line by line. Sequential order, numbers were prime. What goes up must come down. Government cover up underground. What goes up must come down. Government cover up. Politics, energy, whole lots of money. Congress owes me just like Illuminati. Black ops haunting me, stealing my technology. Classified documents trying to buy me. Was I chosen? Am I the only one? Creating an image and power like the sun. What goes up must come down. Government cover up underground. What goes up must come down. Government cover up. What goes up must come down. Government cover up underground. What goes up must come down. Government cover up. It's got a mind, no one saw. Tesla's lightning free for all. Critics to criticize, talk the talk. Cinderberg man, he walked the walk. David from the Bible and Tyson in the ring. Adair building rockets like you ain't never seen. What goes up must come down. Government cover up underground. What goes up must come down. Government cover up. What goes up must come down. Government cover up underground. What goes up must come down. Government cover up. Radioactivity, channels are clear. Counting with a gagger, there's nothing to hear. The mediocre mind didn't want to believe. Took a boy in his dreams to finally achieve. David from the Bible and Tyson in the ring. Adair building rockets you ain't never seen. What goes up must come down. Government cover up underground. What goes up must come down. Government cover up. What goes up must come down. Government cover up underground. What goes up must come down. Government cover up.
Who is who's the chick in the space in the alien spacesuit?
I have been signed to a classified oath. I cannot tell you that. Otherwise, they wouldn't have done it. That's why she didn't mind doing it as long as she had that mask on. And I said, okay, I won't tell anybody who it is. All I will say is the daughter of one of the producers of that song. I know her well. But anyway, that's my voice. I've got a cold right now, but that's my voice singing. And they just asked me to do a music video. That was the story of my life in rap version. And I thought those people were crazy, but I really liked them when they asked me my full name. I said David Tyson Adair, and time to take streetlights changed, the writer turned around and told me, how about this? David from the Bible and Tyson in the ring, Adair building rockets you ain't never seen.
Man, that's crazy. I tried not to interrupt it, but when you was floating in the air and you gave everybody the bird, that's when I bust out laughing. You guys got to watch that.
Yeah, they told me to do that. I said, well, why on earth would I want to do that? Well, you're not fingering the public. You're fingering the aliens like, come and get me. Fuck you.
Right, I got you. Well, let me ask you this question.
Come and get me. I don't care.
What happened? What would happen? You know, when you built this rocket, and you found out they were trying to smash on the Soviets with it, and you said, "Look, that's not why I want to build this thing," and they would have cooperated with you.
Oh my God!
Where would we be today in technology?
Oh my God! If everybody would have worked with me, then rather throwing me in a tug of war between two warring agencies. One was the United States Air Force versus the CIA, and they were just trying to dogs fighting over scraps. And instead of fighting, if they just worked with me, man, the world we'd have today would be so unbelievable. First of all, I would have given you star travel by now. Here we got chemical rockets. Oh, we might make it to Mars in 2.5 years or something like that. With my system, I'd have you at Mars in 2 minutes.
I think SpaceX made it there. The car or whatever that Musk launched.
I haven't been keeping up with that, but it probably made it there. But I just did some very simple tweaking of today's technology of the rockets, and we're getting off track again, but I can get a rocket with all the package delivery that I need. When I launch it, 2 days, I can be at the moon. In 2 days, I can be at the moon with the chemical rockets we have off the shelves, which is not too bad. But yeah, it's if they had helped me, not only would you've gotten like star travel, there was so much else in the math, and I've had 44 years to work on it, and a secondary system of math came out of this thing. It came out of the containment fields, the jar, with the star in a jar. The jar, in those fields, I kept seeing this repeating mathematical expression, and I pursued it. And the way you do this math, you don't control it. It controls you. And if you got enough brain cells, I had just enough, I guess, to follow it. And when I did, I ran into something called Inertia Dampener. Now, put it very simply, what is that? I like this explanation best. Do you remember when we were kids, we were watching Bugs Bunny, and him and his friends were in an airplane, and it ran out of fuel, and it started falling back to Earth, and it was going so fast, the speedometer runs off the dials, the wings rip off, it's a dart, and they're all screaming, we're going to die. And right before it hits the ground, Bugs opens the door, grabs his fins, and they step out on the ground, and the plane crashes, and they're fine. All right, everybody laughs. That's a cartoon. No, it's not. That's exactly what I discovered, an inertia dampening field that does just that. Now, let me explain what that is. When you're inside a car and you're doing 80 miles an hour and you hit a bridge head-on and instant stop, you're about to experience some of the most graphic forms of energy known to man. You've got momentum, the speed of the vehicle. When it smashes and is slowing down, well, the vehicle speed is going to push you through the momentum, and then you're going to start stopping, and you'll hit things to stop, and that's called kinetic energy. And that's what breaks your bones and splatters you like a mosquito on a windshield. Well, with an inertia dampener, that doesn't happen. What happens is there's a field, and let's say we're in a spacecraft now. And have you guys ever wondered about this? How does those little gray suckers run around that you call grays? You know, they seem to pilot a ship coming in our Earth's gravity field, come in at 5,000 miles an hour and do a 9-degree turn, and then they land and they're fine. Well, what the heck? That can't happen, because just the G-forces of that turn, if they're organic beings, they're going to turn into soup, a liquid. They'll just be torn to pieces by the gravitational forces. But not so if you have an inertia dampener in place. Because what would happen, those fields I was telling you about, the fields, the jar that holds the star in place,
right?
Well, you can extend, you can't, with an inertia dampener. Another thing that comes with this type of knowledge is force fields and force field containment. And you can pick them and shape them and bend them to size based on displacement of the magnetic coils. So you put a magnetic bubble inside the cockpit of a spacecraft, and when they do a 5,000-mile turn, they feel nothing. No gravitational forces at all. Inertia, momentum, kinetic energy, all has been removed, just like bugs did. And so that is what you would have as a product. Well, now, what good would that be? Well, how about when your butt's sitting in a $500 or $600 seat you paid on a jetliner, and it's coming down to crash and ain't going to land in the ocean, it's going to hit a cornfield. You're going to be damn glad you got an inertia dampener, because when you crash, the plane will end up hitting stuff and things, probably get banged up, but you'll get out of that seat and walk off. no injuries. That's no bull. That's an inertia dampener.
And like you told us before, the last time he was on the show, you know how to build this, right? You know how to at least design it.
Absolutely. I can contain these fields, but I still got the same problem with the indefinite loop. So I can't get them to sustain, but I know how to set it all up. I'm just inches away from it. So imagine that in all your vehicles. All transportation has inertia dampeners. Planes, trains, automobiles, all that stuff. Even a personal one you could strap to your belt. What God would that be? Well, you got a drunk asshole coming down the road about 90 miles an hour, drunk out of his mind, and he hits you. You don't feel anything. You'll just curve. The car will just curve right around your field and go right on by you. Of course, you may have a heart attack when that's going on, but in physical reality, you feel nothing. Imagine when somebody shoots at you. Same way, bullets will deflect.
Right.
You think the military and the police officers would be interested in that? Yeah. So you asked the question, what would the world be like if they had worked with me? This is all part of it. It's a package. It's a cornucopia. It's just one thing after another. And I really still hadn't got all the math and fields worked out. But
it's kind of making me sick thinking about it, because I'd sure hate to think that we're not where we are, especially when it comes to space flight, because we were worried about the Russians, which I believe, actually.
Yeah, well, I like the man, Curtis LeMay, but his name was Bombs Away LeMay, and that was not trifle. That was earned. And he was the man that quoted in the international news when he told North Vietnam, if you don't come to the Paris peace talks, I will bomb you back into the Stone Age. Well, he got fired the next morning by Robert McNamara, Secretary of Defense at that time. And LeMay was so powerful. God, he was a 4-star Air Force general, chief of the Joint Chiefs. He is the general standing next to John Kennedy in the Cuban Missile Crisis. He is the man with his finger on a button. Guy had some power. And if he had only worked with me, instead of been hell-bent on trying to win MAD, Mutual Assured Destruction, and came up with the first strike policy, and my engine was his answer, he had built things to accommodate my missile deployment. One of the things is, look this up on the internet, look at the XB-70, the Valkyrie. That is a delta wing bomber, triangle-shaped bomber. The wing spread the size of a football field. And it could fly at 85,000 feet. The only thing that could fly higher than it was the X-15. You see that in the movie First Man movie. Neil Armstrong was flying that. But the Valkyrie was gigantic. And let's see, what else LeMay do? Well, he was the designer of the B-52 Stratofortress. He also is the founder of SAC, Strategic Air Command, our nuclear deterrent forces that's guarding us today against MAD. What he came to a conclusion was that he found a first strike weapon, my rocket engine, and with its speed, he's going to load warheads onto my rocket engine and put my rocket pistol, he was going to put it in the belly of the Valkyrie. Oh, by the way, the Valkyrie, as big as it is, it cruises at 2,000 miles an hour. There's no bomber today that can that speed. And when was this thing designed? 1958. Wake up, people. This has all been going on around. You know nothing about it. So he asked for 45 Valkyries. That would have replaced all the B-52s. He would have loaded pistol in all the Valkyries, and then he would have headed toward the Soviet airspace, which we call fail-safe. And when he got close enough right at the edge of striking distance, pistol would have dropped out of the belly of the Valkyrie and take off. And I was just testing theories on my containment field. I only let my rocket burn for 3.5 seconds. I had 1 full second to spare. But in 3.5 seconds, when I launched out of White Sands, New Mexico, I went from 0 and covered 125 miles in 3.2 seconds.
Good grief.
That's how. Yeah. My rocket piston was red, almost white hot on the scent. The only thing that could get that hot was the X-15 on ascent, not descent, going up. And when I launched, people thought my rocket blew up because it shook the place so bad, smoke. What happened was I was counting the seconds, and I knew what happened. Have you ever tried to see a bullet leave a rifle barrel? That's what it's like trying to see my rocket leave. It's that fast. And like I said, this rocket engine design is not designed for Earth-based launch. It's designed to be built in space next to a wagon wheel space station, and you drift out to about L5, where the gravitational tides are about equal between the Earth and the Moon, and then you launch this engine. And, brother, you are just like Star Trek. You know how they just zip away so fast?
Yeah.
Give you an idea. It's such a cute thing in Star Trek where Sulu tries to get the Enterprise to go, and the captain asked him, did you release the parking brake? It's just a cute little thing, but as fast as they are when they're leaving, I'm 1,000,000 times faster.
Well, there's no way a human can sit in that thing and be able to handle it, though, right? I mean, you couldn't...
Oh, absolutely could in space. Deep space, you got no gravity fields. Stay away from large masses. You can zip through space at that kind of speed and not be bothered. And if you are, it doesn't matter because I'm going to put up a inertia dampening field around you before you engage the engine. So it doesn't matter. You don't want to launch from a planet. Simply what I learned from my test vehicle is that you'll do so much damage to the ground. Oh, God. There was nothing left of the launch facility, the pad that we were at in White Sands Proving Ground. It's not there anymore. It wasn't there when I launched. It went with the rocket.
You know, I wonder with all this stuff that you know how to do and the patents that you have and everything, if our government has, I don't know if you can answer this, but do other governments ever contact you? I guess I lost David. But I'm just wondering if other governments ever contact you. But what we'll have to do is we'll have to call him back. I guess we lost a connection there. So that's kind of funny, though. As soon as I asked that question, he's a goner. But I don't think it's a big conspiracy. It just kind of works out that way. We got to take a break anyways. We're halfway through the show. Guys, we'll be right back. More Lighting the Void. Hopefully we'll get David back on the line. We'll be right back, guys. I didn't ask a bad question.
Is out there.
There's something out here.
And so are we. KTLK Digital Broadcasting, The Fringe FM.
All right, everyone, this is Justin from the UK. Excuse the chitty. If you're into the Fringe and you want to hear the brass tacks, my old china plate, Joe Roop and his guests on Lighting the Void will open your mince pies. You need to shut your north and south and use your 10-speed gears and listen to them bubble. You could hear a Barry Crocker, no Brussels, but he ain't no holy friar. Anyway, you be the Barnaby Rudge and take a butcher's.
Hey, Fringe FM listeners, did you know that when you're on the road with limited data or no Wi-Fi available, you can still listen to every minute of the Fringe FM by calling 701-719-3971. No smartphone app or internet needed. Saves your data plan and no extra cost if you have unlimited minutes. Call 701-719-3971. That's 701-719-3971. Listen to the Fringe FM on any phone, anytime, anywhere.
Are you intrigued by Paranormal Talk Radio? You'll love the new Paranormal Radio app from TalkStream Live. You'll find a great selection of talk shows covering UFOs, ghosts, strange phenomena, and much more. Download the Paranormal Radio app now and start listening to the very best in paranormal talk entertainment, including the network you're listening to right now, the Paranormal Radio app. Free in Google Play and the iOS App Store.
Poor water quality is a major health issue, and it's only getting worse. Municipalities can't keep up. Standards have dropped, and pollutants are increasing. Where does it all end? It ends by keeping the pollutants outside of your home with HydroCare's advanced systems available at Wave Home Solutions. No less than the best purification materials and processes have been developed by HydroCare to provide you with healthy, clean water for drinking, cooking, and showering. HydroCare far surpasses the competition in removing chlorine, odors, iron, lead, chemicals, limescale, and much more. Don't settle for less when it comes to your water. We'll take care of the toughest water problems for you, whether it's from a city or well source. Satisfaction guaranteed. For more information, call 888-997-WAVE. That's 888-997-WAVE. Or go to bestwater123.com. That's bestwater123.com.
Wave Home Solutions for a healthy, comfortable home.
Greetings, galactic community. This is Suzanne Ross, host of Sci-Spy Radio, every Wednesday evening from 5 to 7 p.m. Pacific. Join me for this brand new show featuring a revolutionary new genre, Sci-Spy, merging science and spirituality to give us answers to the greatest mysteries of creation. Together, scientific discovery and spiritual revelation reveal the truth about who we are, where we came from, why we're here, and where we're going. Tune in to Sci-Spy Radio every Wednesday from 5 to 7 p.m. Pacific and discover the truth for yourself at thefringe.fm.
You're listening to Lighting the Void Radio.
Follow The Fringe FM on Facebook and Twitter at The Fringe FM. The Fringe FM loves hearing from you. Have a suggestion, comment, or question? We're all ears. Email talkback@thefringe.fm. Want to know what's on The Fringe FM? Check out our schedule at thefringe.fm.
You're listening to Lighting the Void. The call-in number is 1-800-588-0335. If you would like to text, you can text in at 501-777-5631.
All right, so we got him back. That's the cool thing. It is kind of funny, though, that I said, hey, David, I'm just curious, do any other governments contact you? And then I heard, hello, click, gone. So, can you answer that question, or is that something you can talk about?
No, I can. The answer is yes, and it's continuous. I'm always getting offers. I bet you I've gotten probably 40, 42 offers from other countries already, and I've turned all of them down except the last one here has got my attention, and I'm not sure where it's going, but it is sure interesting. Of all places on Earth, for somebody to call me up and tell me, would you like to run our space program? And this is the country calling me now. And I said, well, yeah, where you at? Cairo. Egypt? You got a space program? And then it hit me. How many of you out there, about 2 weeks ago, do you remember seeing a launch of a satellite built and launched by Japan for their client, Saudi Arabia? They were launching a satellite into space. It's a high-definition satellite, very similar to the CIA satellites. The entire Middle East wants to build its own space program, and y'all got to remember something. Collectively, they have about 1 million times the budget that we do.
Oh, yeah.
And they're serious. And I said, well, wait a minute. What do you want to do? And then they said, well, we want to do what you were talking about. I said, well, God, I talk about so much. What? Which one? All of them. All my projects? I said, and they asked me, what's the very first one to do? Well, very first one is, I'm going back to the moon. How about you?
Right on.
And they said, we can do that. I said, now, I'm not talking about man expedition. I want these robots I've designed to be sent. And it's where they're going. It's going to be very cool. I said that I've watched these videotapes, moon bases and all that stuff. There's like 14 different targets. And there's this big tower, this arch, the thing buried in the dirt that looks like a spacecraft, all this stuff. NASA will never go look at those. And I said, that's the first thing we're going to do is we're going to go back to the moon with the newly updated rockets, and our cameras will be new. And I'm using an old-style approach called Lunar Ranger. Now, some of you older people are going to remember in the 60s, they used to come on TV and show you the camera flying into the moon, taking click, 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 and then impact. Well, that's how we picked the 7 landing sites for the Apollo moon missions. Well, I'm going to do the same thing, except I'm changing coordinates. I'm going to the 14 target sites of the moon bases. And so these guys, in Cairo said, okay. I said, wait a minute, you can't just sit there and say, okay. You got to pony up here.
Yeah, wire the money.
Do what I want to. Yeah, I need like $150 billion in cash to start with. And they said, well, where do you want the money sent? I went, oh, my God. So I said, okay. So they're sending a jet for me, and I'm got this stupid cold right now and cough. You can hear it.
Yeah.
Once I get over this, I'm all cleaned up, I'm on my way to Cairo. And they'll send a jet for me. And they're behaving just like 1%ers, and I'm going, holy smokes.
He's throwing their money around.
Yeah, and that's okay. I think they're trying to dress to impress, but, $150 billion in cash, that's a good start. And I know exactly what to do the first hour of the first day to get everything started. I know who to pick up the phone, who to call. And with that kind of money, oh, my God, it will all happen so fast. So very shortly, we can have a fleet of rockets going to the moon with cameras, looking at these lunar bases. And when these things land, and they will land, they're not going to crash into the moon. And they're going to crawl around. And if this thing's got doors, we'll see doorknobs and keyholes. I mean, it's going to be that detailed. And all of it be coming back to Earth on pay-per-view. And people going, well, the Cairo went, my God, how many thousands are you charging for pay-per-view? $10, about the same cost of a cheeseburger at McDonald's. And they said, well, why so cheap? Well, using McDonald's as an example, Ray Kroc of McDonald's said, we'll make our money up in volume. You got 8 billion people on Earth. How many people are going to want to see what we roll up and look at? Right. Everybody. And
are they going to put somebody over you, though, do you think? Like, here's the thing, like, and Sammy is saying this in the chat room, David, like, that you need to be careful. And maybe that's a good thought, right? But
it is. I've lived my life this whole route. Maybe they're going to take me over and I end up being, sushi like that author did with in Turkey. But you know what? That's okay. I don't care. I've done so much in this world, and you do it, you do it. If you don't, God Almighty, all of you are going to benefit. Take a leap and see what happens.
Do you think our government would, because they're going to know about it if they already don't?
Oh, man, they're already cranked up. And that's why I've built things like, where do I launch from? Well, I'll be launching from the center of the equator on Sea Launch, which is a platform you can hire for lease, and they launch rockets in from the equator. Their platform's bigger than Deepwater Horizon, and they'll sail that thing out into the middle of the equator. They've already launched, hundreds of satellites into orbit from there. And you really want to do that. You want to do that because NASA kept screaming and complaining that $10,000 per pound into orbit can't get around the cost. Well, that's because you're about 3,000 miles north of the equator. When you get right on the equator, the planet will sling the damn rockets out for you, and we can do it at $500 a pound, not $10,000. So we're going to be saving money hand over fist. And
God, I hope this is real. I hope it really happens.
Yeah, see, I hadn't just been sitting around and decided to do this yesterday. I've been plotting this out for 44 years. Actually, I really started plotting it after in 72 when they shut down the Apollo space program and manned space flight 76, the first time. I never thought I'd see America's manned space program go down twice and gone. I mean, you talking about my stories are crazy. How about that one? That's an insane story right there. Nobody's saying anything about it. But anyway, the thing is, when I launch from the equator, I am international waters. Unless you want to start an international nuclear confrontation war, you're going to have to sit there and watch it. And the way I'm going to, I've already told Egypt, the way we'll do this, we're going to copy the Manhattan Project. Everybody comes on board. No communications, no internet, no cell phones, nothing. You will live on the base, you will get this project done, and then you can go about your life, and they'll pay you well. But in the meantime, Manhattan style. Because there's going to be a lot of people wanting to make sure my rockets don't get out of here and the mission doesn't make it.
I was thinking the same thing.
I got countermeasures in place. And for God's sake, where did you train me for 11 years? O&I. Office of Naval Intelligence, I'm of the same community, so I know just what to look for, what to set up. And I am truly, the old phrase, I am America's controlling interests' worst nightmare. Because I've been trained well. So if they got the money and follow my instructions, everything will go. And that's about as much detail I'm going to give out on this subject right now. But
okay.
Can you imagine? Matt, can you imagine this happening? And no, you're not going to be able to stop me. No, you're not going to influence me. And we'll go see what's on the moon. Here's the question. What if somebody's up there and they're pissed off at us?
Right. Well, not that it matters, but it would be one hell of a way to validate everything that you've ever talked about. You know what I mean? Like, not that there's plenty of evidence there already as far as your narrative goes, but I would love to be like, what's that? My son go, what's that, Dad? Well, that's one of David Adair's rockets. He's going to take pictures of the moon.
Yeah, and I'm going to show you what the strange structures are. And then the owners of that property are going to step out, the moon people, and we're going to have some interesting talks. And the first thing I would say to them, see, I think what's happened, we got thrown off the moon, and conspiracy people got all these elaborate theories. Yeah, it's something really simple, y'all. Look at the manifest of junk we left on the moon. 200 tons of it. Nearly 500,000 pounds of crap. Old rocket parts, lunar landers, 96 bags of feces. Where do you think the astronauts went? They're on the moon. They threw back the crap out. So imagine you live inside the moon, and I'm throwing all this crap out on your roof. You're going to come out there and say, look, y'all have had your fun. Now go home. Don't ever come back here, or we'll just blow you away. And I think we got thrown out for something as simple as that. I'll meet them and ask them, hey, can I clean up the place for you for free? Yeah, I'll take everything I can get my hands on up there, bring it back to Sotheby's, and auction it. 200 tons of space junk. I'll sell every ounce of it. And then the moon people go, well, okay, you clean up the place. We'll behave ourselves. We won't litter the place. What else can we do to... Oh, by the way, who did you talk to first? Did they sign a treaty? What's their names?
Right.
Would the world want that information? Yeah. And
so you do think there's beings up there then? I mean...
I do. I can't prove it, but my gut suspicion, speculation, yeah, there's people there. They flew that thing in and parked it. And what they've been doing ever since, I don't know. Don't have a clue. Certainly would like to ask them questions. But if nothing else, just have them say, hi.
Right.
That's all I would need. The fur would fly down here to no end. And I told the one percenters, hey, guess what, guys? One of them little alien guys stepped out with a shoulder-fired weapon and just blew us out of the sky. We got all these pictures of him. Hit the front newspapers. One big word across the entire page, contact. Whoever funds this will go down in history for all eternity, immortal, forever. Their names will go down as the people who funded Contact.
I would like to think that America did that, but I'm starting to have my doubts that they would even try.
No. Well, I don't even care if anybody remembers my name, just what it is I did and the information that fell out of it. That's all I want you to know. As for me, I don't care. I just want to stand and watch. I'm just Bob Uecker, front row.
Yeah.
So,
well, we all have that suspicion, David. We all feel like there's something going on, and I know there's a lot of narratives going on that just, like you brought up the blue space chicken thing and all, there's a lot of narratives going on, but in our gut, we feel like they are hiding something from us, especially with the Space Force launch,
Yeah, and Space Force. What the hell's that? I don't know. I certainly stay out of politics, but it's the overall knowledge of everything. You mean just a handful of people on this planet's been talking to an alien life form and we know nothing about it? That's crap, y'all. That's bull crap. No, that's not right. Nobody has that. Nobody. I mean nobody. No president, no prime minister, nobody has the authority to hold that kind of information from the rest of you. That involves all of us. You get back about 100,000 miles from this planet, look at this blue marble. We're all traveling on it. We all have the right to know that kind of information, and that's the only reason I'm doing all this, is that doing it for you guys. You guys have a right to know. Plus, it would be a little bit of a payback for me. You messed up my life, my career. I'll come back and burn you and find out who signed that treaty.
Well, you always give me inspiration. Look at when people start saying things like they think I'm a liar or whatever, and my stuff is small. I'm talking small compared to some of the stuff you've been through, and
oh, man.
It gives me hope to know how the hell did you wade that storm,
I laughed my way through it. The reason I can do that, critics can go at me all they want, and I even tell critics to their faces, like, are you mad at us? No, I actually like you guys. It means you got a brain, you're thinking. Yeah, make him prove all this stuff. Because when I prove it, we all win. I can do this stuff, and apparently Cairo thinks I can too. And so do several other countries. And they got the wealth now. Wealth is transferring on this planet, which is what I think is driving all of this craziness we're seeing going on.
Yeah.
These guys have so much money I'm talking to. They got these 550 SELs, Mercedes-Benz. They're like $200,000 or $300,000 a piece. And they plated them in gold, so it's worth millions. And now they glued diamonds to them. You can see them on the internet. Just type it in, diamonds on a Mercedes. And I said, you guys got more money than sense. Let me help you spend your money in the right direction. Let's do something with it. How would you like to have your name in the immortality of the people who funded Contact? And God knows where you go after we get official Contact made. I don't know. I have no idea. Not even interested. I'm interested for y'all, but, do I want to be a part of my name recognized? No, I don't care. I don't care anybody. I'm not here for me. I'm here for you guys. And I seem to be making inroads. And now, if you put that kind of wealth in my hands, buddy, y'all can say you're Bob Bucher. You got a front row seat.
Well, I hope our American officials are smart enough to step in and, honestly, let me just be honest with you, David. I don't really care who comes up with it. I'd like for America to do it, but I just want to know, man. Yeah. I really, that above everything else, I just want to know.
Yeah, it boils down to just basic human being living on this planet, traveling through space. We've talked about 2 hours. That means we have traveled 200,000 miles through space. We move through space at 100,000 miles an hour. And every hour of every day, you travel that distance. We're all travelers. And it boils down to that. You want to know where we're going with our little spaceship Earth, and we're all together. And that's how I look at it. I don't get involved in politics. That's local things. I'm just interested in the bigger picture of where we are, where we're going, why you're here, that kind of thing.
And there are some things that you still can't talk about, right? That you're not allowed to talk about with us.
Oh, right? Yeah. I got so many security oaths on me. I'd look like a ball of spaghetti with all the things attached to me. But I've learned to dance. I'm a good dancer in between all this stuff, and I'll be able to pull this thing off with the moon without getting myself probably killed or blowed up. If I do, though, that's fine. I'm out of here. What a deal.
Right.
It's like that's a bad thing. It's a no-lose scenario for me. But to get the information like that out to everybody on the planet, oh man, it's worth your life. Yeah, it's a bargain.
I see everybody's questions too, and I promise you I'll get to them. I just see David's got so much to talk about. I don't know if you guys remember this, but if you haven't listened to it, the classic interview that you did with Art Bell that was 7 hours long, buddy, you talk about skeptic after skeptic that called in, and Art believed you too. He did.
Yeah. Art got mad at him. He said, listen, folks, nobody's going to come on air, lie 7 hours worth of lies, dozens of details, thousands, of details in the background, and I give explanations on all of it. And, and then you retell the story over and over and over, and there's no errors. So the only way a person can do that is they're doing it from recall. There's only one way to tell truth, comes out the same way every time. So I've even had reverse speech people run all my stuff to there. And they all came back and said, dang, he's telling the truth.
Mm-hmm.
And I always find it amazing when really close friends will suddenly say to me, you're telling the truth. Like, dude, what do you think I've been doing, lying to you for 4 decades? No, and I've even tell the critics, no, I don't mind you being a critic. Shows you got a brain. I've lived it. I was there. I've done it. And I don't even believe it at times. It's just an incredible life I've had. And it's not just one. It's like I've had 10 lives in one. So I don't know what, and it's not true. I'm 64. I'll be 65 in January. And now they're about to drop this kind of money on me. It's all just starting again.
Well, I hope it goes through. And, I hope, by the way, are you going to try to get that book out before that happens?
Yeah, as man, you're thinking like the publisher. You think I might end up like Chop Suey from...
No. I just want to read it, while I'm waiting on to see what you're doing. I don't think anything's... You can hire me. I'll go over there with you. Hire me for security.
I've had if I think anybody wants to go protect me, I think I'd take about a third of America with me.
Yeah.
But your question, yes, we'll get the book out, and the movie people finally got the script done, and they want to start production. So, and that call came today, this afternoon. So, incredible timing. That's the way my life runs. The producers and directors that know me really well, they'll see this stuff happening, and they'll lean over to me and they'll say in my ear, "Run, Forrest, run!"
Right. If there was, in your opinion, David, a branch of the military that was involved with a secret space program, obviously it's not, NASA has nothing to do with it. I mean, but if there was one, do you think it would be the Navy or the Air Force? Do you think it's this Space Force? Just speculating. I know you don't have any proof, and if you did, you probably couldn't talk about it.
It's got to be, it'll boil down between Navy in the lead and the Air Force. The Navy always has seemed to be the big dog on all of the alphabet groups. And but let y'all in on secret information, I guess. Maybe some of you figured this out, but the biggest dog on the block of the alphabet group is not NSA, not ONI, not the FBI, CIA, any of that. I'll probably get in trouble for this one. It's called the NRO, National Reconnaissance Organization. Their budget is 20 times the size of the CIA, and that is secret information right there.
That might explain some of the missing money that we lost during the wars and stuff.
Yeah. I think NRO is running the alternate space program, if it's real. And they consume more money than all the other agencies combined. You hear in Hollywood they can say ONI, NSA, FBI, but have you ever heard that word, those three letters, ever in any movie, NRO? No, you have not. They simply said, you will not ever use our name. So there's your big block. There's your big dog on the big block. And if you go to their websites, beware. They have a spider program on it. Once you look at their website, they've got you and your computer forever. So don't go rushing to it. I'd recommend picking up a book out of a library and read up on them. Don't go to their website. They'll tag you. And it'd be just like tag and release. You'll be a salmon.
I got an email here, David, real quick before we got to take our last hour break here, is about the moon. To email asking a question. If the moon came from, I guess, aliens or parked itself here, would we survive if it left our orbit? In other words, the tides and the oceans.
Excellent question. That's what I love about the Fringe Radio and all the Fringe groups. You got the smartest dang people out there listening. I swear to God, they should be running the damn country. I'm telling you, they know better. They know more in Congress and the Senate and the Cabinet all combined put together. I've never met such brilliant questions as I do on Fringe Radio type programs like this. That is a wonderful, thoughtful question. And yes, we will, if they decided, jigs up, we know you're there, well, good, we'll take our ball and go home, we would be in some bad shape. You're right. That thing would leave, it would tear our tides up, then the chain reaction of that starting would be horrendous. But think of this. There was a time on this planet when there was no moon. As a matter of fact, Indians' historical records, they actually, it's what they call oral tradition. They have stories where there was no moon. So, yeah, the planet was fine. But the initial reaction of it leaving, oh, man, talk about rearranging the topography and the boundary lines of property at the beach. That's going to be, the insurance companies are going to just want to put a bullet to their brains because imagine all of Miami gone. That's just a start worldwide.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a very good question. He's thinking is what thing. You can listen to these questions and you can tell, man, these people are thinking. Yeah, it would be horrendous. We would readjust and go back normal, but we'd reset our geographic boundaries would change, especially around the oceans. Boy, you talk about climate change now. That's nothing compared to what this would be.
Well, it makes me wonder about the other things that, I mean, if the moon controls the tides and all this other stuff, what else?
Right.
There's other things that run on a 28-day cycle, ladies, right? There's things that I think it has some type of influence over.
Oh, the influence would be enormous. Our bodies are 75% water. And every full moon, go down to the hospital and talk to the doctors. They'll tell you when it's a full moon, and they don't even have to look outside. It's all the craziness coming in through the door. People go nuts. We are affected by the moon. We're all tied together with it. So it's a big deal. I mean, it's not, I'm making light of it because the flip side is really depressing. So I don't know. Why did they come here in the first place? What's their agenda? You know, were they running away from something? They picked this planet to orbit? You know, I got a million questions, and I have no answers. But I think it'd be better for us as a race to be asking these questions and know the basic knowledge of where we all stand on things and then go from there.
Right.
But, yeah, that is something to worry about. It's a real problem. If the moon decided to leave, it would be horrendous. But we wouldn't die as a species, but we'd be hurt and shook up really bad. It wouldn't just be something you blow off like, oh, that's nothing.
Right.
It'd be pretty rough.
Well, the phone lines are open, guys, and we're taking one of our last breaks of the night. You know, after tonight, everything that he's talking about, I wonder if all this stuff really happens, this may be your only chance to ask him a question, you know, on this show. And I will, that could be the truth. And so you could call in at 1-800-588-0335. Don't be afraid. David doesn't bite. I promise. And you can text in. You can also email at contact@lightingthevoid.com if you got a question. We'll get to your questions when we come back. We'll be right back, guys.
Hi, this is Aaron Hunter, host of Real Paranormal Activity, the podcast where we tell real paranormal experiences of people from around the world. And we also conduct interviews with authors, investigators, psychics, and mediums. Real people, real stories, real fear. Thursdays at 6 p.m. Pacific, 9 p.m. Eastern on The Fringe FM. See you then.
Hey, Fringe FM listeners, did you know that when you're on the road with limited data or no Wi-Fi available, you can still listen to every minute of the Fringe FM by calling 701-719-3971. No smartphone, app, or internet needed. Saves your data plan and no extra cost if you have unlimited minutes. Call 701-719-3971. That's 701-719-3971. Listen to the Fringe FM on any phone, anytime, anywhere.
This is Elle. I listen to Lighting the Void because it's interactive radio with good content, interesting guests, and a humble host, sharing this journey through the esoteric. Hey, Joe Roop. Thanks for having us along for the ride.
Thank you so much for the delightful evening.
Well, I got a lot of ground to cover.
Paranormal Talk Radio, you'll love the new Paranormal Radio app from TalkStream Live. You'll find a great selection of talk shows covering UFOs, ghosts, strange phenomena, and much more. Download the Paranormal Radio app now and start listening to the very best in paranormal talk entertainment, including the network you're listening to right now, the Paranormal Radio app. Free in Google Play and the iOS App Store.
Poor water quality is a major health issue, and it's only getting worse. Municipalities can't keep up. Standards have dropped, and pollutants are increasing. Where does it all end? It ends by keeping the pollutants outside of your home with HydroCare's advanced systems available at Wave Home Solutions. No less than the best purification materials and processes have been developed by HydroCare to provide you with healthy, clean water for drinking, cooking, and showering. HydroCare far surpasses the competition in removing chlorine, odors, iron, lead, chemicals, limescale, and much more. Don't settle for less when it comes to your water. We'll take care of the toughest water problems for you, whether it's from a city or well source. Satisfaction guaranteed. For more information, call 888-997-WAVE. That's 888-997-WAVE. Or go to bestwater123.com. That's bestwater123.com.
Wave Home Solutions for a healthy, comfortable home.
You're listening to Lighting the Void Radio.
Follow The Fringe FM on Facebook and Twitter at The Fringe FM. Start your evenings with The Fringe FM long before those other shows get started. Exclusively live on The Fringe FM, hear the Quantum Hologram Matrix with the Reverend John Polk, Tuesdays at 5 Pacific, 8 Eastern. And our newest show, Sci-Spy Radio with Suzanne Ross, Wednesdays at 5 Pacific, 8 Eastern. Then stay up, because we're burning the midnight oil well into the morning hour. The truth is out there, and so are we. Lock it in, The Fringe FM.
From Studio 303, it's the Stranger Than Fiction News, right here on the Fringe FM, bringing light to the stories that surround us. A man claims to have spent 10 days with aliens. Alec Newland, who is from New Zealand, maintains that he once spent over a week in an alien civilization. His remarkable experience occurred back in 1989 during a drive from Auckland from Rotorua through some of New Zealand's most picturesque scenery. He first noticed that something was off when he arrived at his destination and discovered that it was Thursday when it really should have been Monday. You can read all of this extraordinary story at unexplainedmysteries.com. And astronomers reveal the Milky Way devoured a galactic challenger. Our home galaxy snacked on a dwarf galaxy about 10 billion years ago, and its next victim is in sight. 10 billion years ago, our home galaxy smashed into a smaller cluster of stars, a dwarf galaxy whose remains have recently been spotted among the glittering masses swarming the Milky Way. With a good telescope, the dwarf galaxy's bizarre stars are still visible in our night sky. They have taken up residence in the solar neighborhood and in the halo swaddling the Milky Way's spiral arms. The particular motion of those stars pointed researchers to the ancient collision that consumed them in the first place. This story was posted at nationalgeographic.com. And that wraps it up for another edition of the Stranger Than Fiction News for the Fringe FM. I'm Vance Nesbitt, anchor and news sorcerer.
All right, we're back, guys, with David Adair. The calling number is 1-800-588-0335. The texting number is 501-777-5631. And you can email the show at contact@lightingthevoid.com. Don't forget, tomorrow night on the program, we're going to have our New Moon show with Mary DeCina. And for the first hour, we're going to discuss the alignments, and, she's going to discuss the alignments, and we're going to take your calls. But tonight, we're talking about the secret space program, America's Fall from Space, and David Adair, who's probably one of the coolest cats in this field that I know. And I say that with no uncertainty. So I don't know if you're ready for these questions yet, David, because I got a few.
Ready. I'm ready. I love questions.
Well, the first one that I'm just going to go right at is Buzz Aldrin, because I know your story with Neil and how you knew his family and stuff, but the other astronauts like Buzz, is he gone crazy or something? Like he's just now saying that we never went to the moon. It was all a fallacy. It was all fake.
No, I can't imagine Buzz ever admitting that. No, but Buzz has suffered a couple of strokes, and they have really done some real damage to him. But no, we went to the moon. Lord God, we were there. I was at most of the launches. I was all over the space program. I was a child when that was all going on. But because of what I was able to do and stuff, I was allowed such privileges, and I also knew von Braun really well. He got to know me and had all kinds of access stuff. In the third week of April, what do schools do? They let out for spring break, right? So I was free on spring break, and on April 13th, guess where I was? I was at Houston for the Apollo 13 launch. And if you remember the movie, when they had to figure out, put the round filter in a square hole, and they poured all this junk out on the table, I was asleep under that table. And what happened was I was just supposed to visit their normal mission. I'd be, spring break, watch it, and go home. Gene Kranz, Ed Harris with the white vest, got a call from von Braun, and then von Braun asked if I could come and visit while that was going on, and he said, sure. So I was there, and when it all, after 205,000 miles into the mission, they go to stir the liquid oxygen tanks, and Lord God, it blows about 2/3 of its guts out in space. So these guys that were working those command stations, they stayed right at those stations. They'd only go to the bathrooms and come back. They would leave their headphones and sleep on the floor in front of the station. That's how much they cared. And I became super gopher. All my job was to do was change ashtrays. Sounds easy. Man, I ain't never seen so many cigarette butts in my life. I had a 5-gallon bucket, and I went at least 14 hours a day. And Gene Kranz gave me access to every room there was. There was nothing off limit to me. I only had to be quiet, come in, change out. And also, I started taking orders from family members of these guys, bringing them their blood pressure medication products from all the cigarettes, and whatever medications they had, and just gophering. And I remember clear as day walking into the room when Gene Kranz was hitting the blackboard, and he said, you can only give me enough power to get right here. And he said, failure is not an option, guys. And I stopped and looked at that, holding my 5-gallon bucket of cigarette butts. And I said, damn, this will make a really good, a really good movie someday. And, but I grew up with it all. And I'm telling you, I'm not the smartest person on earth, but I can tell, I got enough brain cells when somebody's pulling a damn hoodwink on me. And believe me, there's no way you could send a signal from the moon or fake a signal from the moon. We went there, y'all, and I can prove it. I can give you a phone number. I'll give you 5 phone numbers. These are all observatories that fire a laser every single day to the landing sites and hit these mirrors that are triangle shaped. And because you hit the mirror at the triangle point, it reflects the laser right back from the source. So these observatories fire these lasers every single day so we can track the movement of the moon. If we hadn't been there, how'd them mirrors get there? And I've even fired the lasers personally. I've watched them reflect back. So, yeah, we were there. Don't believe that crap that we didn't go. We were there. But there's some other strange things that I don't have any explanations for. Why did we come back and burn all our ships? Meaning, do you know what happened in 1972 when we got to Apollo 17? Do you know what they did to all the space launches? The machines, they cut them up for scrap iron. And so we basically burned the Pinta, the Maria, and Santa Maria, and we're never going to go back to the moon. Do you know what they've done to the shuttle pads? They're all cut up. They're gone. There's nothing there to launch anything, just a big flat concrete slab. We did it again, and I ain't got no explanation for that, y'all. I don't know where the logic in that is. It's insanity. Unless there's an agenda going somewhere else, which there's got to be. You can't be doing stuff this crazy and not have some kind of a crazy agenda behind it. What I find so amazing is no one's really pitching a bitch about it that much. I mean, that's a significant thing. You just burnt down manned space flight twice within a single lifetime, and nobody's saying anything. That's like somebody saying, yeah, we can fly waffle grids over their heads and nobody's going to ask any questions about it.
Right.
Chemtrails, and they do that every day. So,
I used to not believe in chemtrails until I really started looking into it. And then, I remember when the CIA came out and said, oh, yeah, we're experimenting with weather manipulation. I was like, so they're admitting it now. So what the hell's really going on,
Well, it's a half-truth. I can show you the patents of the guy who invented the spray nozzles for the plane. And guess whose name it is? Edward Teller. Recognize the name? Inventor of the H-bomb.
Wow.
He has patents on the spray nozzles. And I started investigating and calling my own people. And here's what the chemtrails are about. Everybody's got all these elaborate, conspiracy theories. Well, doom, it's terraforming, it's aliens, it's changing the atmosphere. No, it's not. It's something very simple, y'all, but it's not good. What it is, the insurance companies, after Katrina, and this happened the chemtrails started way before Katrina. What happened was the hurricanes started showing up, class 3, class 4, class 5. And insurance companies went to government and told them, we can't afford this. We'll go bankrupt. And if we go under, we'll take the whole nation with us. So you guys better find a way to control this weather. What's the main fuel for a hurricane? Warm oceans. So Edward Teller said, I can fix that. I'll put spray nozzles on these planes. And they started out with 700 707 Air Force tankers flying 24/7. They spray out there. It comes out as a thick, looks like a contrail, but it doesn't disappear. It just spreads out. And as it's spreading out, it ends up looking like a cirrus cloud at about 80,000 feet. What it is sunscreen for the planet. We have lost so much of our ozone layer due to our stupidness of pollutants in the air, and it's allowing the sun to heat up the oceans, causing these super hurricanes. So the sunlight, you ever notice how bright the chemtrails are? Way brighter than a cloud. Sunlight reflects off the aluminum oxide, which is what it is, and it ricochets off of it and goes back out in space, keeping the planet cooler and not fueling these super hurricanes so bad. If they don't have the chemtrails in place, you would have Katrinas one after another every year. We wouldn't have anything left hardly. So that's what the big deal is. Only problem is this. Here's your dark side. Those aluminum oxide particles will stay in the upper atmosphere for about 2 to 3 years. After that, they settle to Earth. And we've had chemtrails, I forgot how long, 13, 14 years. Well, that means about the last dozen or 12, 13 years, you've been breathing this aluminum oxide, and we have no idea what long-term health effects is going to be with this stuff. If you go over to L.A., they spray heavy over there, and you see a car that's been setting out, the engine's out of it, it's just been there for a long time. Run your hand over it, and then look at your hand. It's white as snow. That's aluminum oxide. So that's why you have the chemtrails. That's what they're about. That's what they're for. It's not an alien takeover program and all this other ridiculous stuff. It's just a way of trying to cool the oceans down so they don't have super hurricanes. Problem is that nobody's really challenging it on a health level. The number one medical problem in America right now is what? Upper respiratory problems. Now, ain't that a coincidence?
Mm-hmm.
So that's what it is, folks. And, they're not trying to aliens change the atmosphere and out here to kill. Why would an alien want? Anyway, you go into those theories forever. I haven't met any alien up there trying to terraform the planet. But I have met people who've flown these planes, and they're pumping them with aluminum oxide, trying to cool the planet down. But, think of the person who gave us the nozzles, the same person who gave us the H-bomb. Isn't that a nice gift? So he's given us two things already. Now, they'll support him. Imagine if they support me, what I could have given you. But,
yeah, I bet that eats you alive. I could see, and that's why I really am compelled to believe your story, because even when I called you on the phone, the first thing that's on your mind, that's always in the back of your mind, is how they went about this whole thing wrong. I mean, somebody that was telling a false story would spend their entire time just telling whacked out stuff, trying to convince you that it was true. Every time I've ever talked to you, the first thing that you start talking about is how upset you are because of how far behind we are, and that they never got behind what you're doing the way they should have.
Yeah. I could have rocked y'all's world in a good way. And it's, people ask, why was I born? Why I'm here? I guess I've been lucky. I always done it. I was born to serve you people. I came here to help you, and I will die trying doing so. You asked me when we're at break, I told you what was going to be written on my tombstone. Here lies David Adair, a good and faithful servant. I hope I earned that phrase by the time I get to the end of my days, but it's where I'm at, y'all. I've got money. God, I got money enough where I don't have to worry about money, but I didn't come here to make money. I didn't come here to party. I came here to work for you and make things better for you and your kids and their kids and their kids. It's the only reason I'm here. Otherwise, I would have never come to this place. It's too damn crazy. I love the metaphysical people who come and say, oh, you must ask to come here. You volunteer. I lost a bet, lady. That's what happened. I'm just paying off the bet. I'm here and trying to make the best of it. But after I lived here and watched people and see the whole situation, you kind of like kudzu. That's a plant we got down here in the South. It grows and attaches to everything. Y'all like kudzu to me. I got attached to you, and I realized, the people are struggling so hard. Got all these damn no-good son of guns on top of them, riding them down. Stupid politics. I mean, that's going forever. And I thought, whoever speaks up for the average person, paying their bills, raising their family, love their kids, who speaks for those people? Nobody. So, yeah, I'll get up. I'll pick up a sword for you. I'll go at it.
Yeah, it feels like somebody's always trying to sell us something, especially in this community.
I'm never trying to sell you. I got beat by an old woman with a cane because I wasn't selling videotapes and books to read. I thought, I'm not here for y'all to know about me. If I was a magician, I'd have my autobiography, Magical Me,
Right.
Harry Potter said it best. No, I'm not into that stuff. I'm just trying to get things done for y'all. And it's been very hard. It's just, you got titanic forces on this planet. It's really got the upper hand. But I still remember my mother's phrase, little strokes fell great oaks. And guess what? I'm still chipping away at them, and I just don't stop. After a while, you're like the little flea that brings the big dog down because you just can't take it. Driving crazy.
Right.
So, if they get me, they get me.
I got, speaking of that, that's a good segue here. This question is actually one of the first emails I got, and it's actually from Ken, and he asks, there are certain things that you can't talk about, but he's wondering if, and the spelling's kind of messed up, but he's wondering if, long story short, because I'm not going to read this whole email about your experience, buddy. I'm sorry. I love you. But he's basically wondering to what extent the government will do to a human, because we hear a lot of stuff like, they'll kill you, they'll make you go away, yada, 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 right. Because you've talked about how you dance around it. Do you know for a fact that our government does things to our own people to keep our mouths shut, basically?
Oh, absolutely. I think I was talking about Bill Cooper.
Mm-hmm.
Behold the Pale Rider. I told Bill, I said, Bill, you got to learn when to back off. You're not backing off. You're going to push too many buttons, and they're going to take you out, man. You know this drill. And he just kept on pushing. You got to learn to dance with them. And very few people that's done the stuff for real don't know how to do that. Bill Cooper's gone. And, they will do things. If you push them into a corner and they get threatened, they will hurt you.
That's scary.
What you got to do is, it's scary. It's the way life is on this planet. But what you got to do is figure out how to use a carrot and a stick at the same time. And like I said earlier, I don't have to prove somebody wrong in order for me to be right. You got to think like that. And you remember you're dealing with delicate egos and paranoia out the yin-yang. And you got to remember when you're trying to deal with them, that's what you're dealing with. So you try to give them exit ramps and stuff. I don't know. I've been able to, here I am at 64 years old, still here. And never felt threatened, not once.
Well, I can definitely validate the Bill Cooper stuff based on my research. And all of that stuff is at the Black Vault. Everybody from the county, I guess you could say pet control, to the county, to the FBI, everybody had an open investigation on him about something. I mean, they were trying to nail him for, littering, anything they can get him for. They were all over that guy.
Yeah. He pushed the boundaries too far. You got to give people in power exit ramps. And if you don't, you're going to be gone. So I try, it's better for me to live another day to fight the fight than me be gone, you get no help. So I've learned to dance. I dance really well.
You do that. You rap pretty good too.
Yeah.
I'll tell you. But there's this question I've wondered, and I don't know if you can answer it for me, but I brought it up, and another person brought it up via text message here. I've brought it up in a few shows, that a Russian official that claimed that samples collected by, I guess, cosmonauts show evidence of plankton on the outside of an international space station. They're saying that it's bullcrap, but because NASA hasn't confirmed it, but I don't trust NASA. But the guy, Vladimir Solivov, said that there was plankton on the outside of a space station. So is that even possible? I mean, is there things about space itself that they're not telling us about?
Oh, yeah. What you got is bits and pieces of truth and speculation, sometimes outright lies, all twisted together. Unless you really know this stuff, you can't make sense of it. It's not plankton, it's algae. And it's real. And yes, algae can live in space under certain conditions. The reason I know about this is because that's one of my projects. what happened was the Life Support Sciences of Houston came to me and said, David, you got any way of thoughts or ideas about perpetuating oxygen in a space station? Said, yeah, as a matter of fact, I do. What you do is I did this at Coconut Grove in Miami, and it was a Planet Hollywood, of all things. And I had to go bail out some friends at low bid Planet Hollywood, and Robert Earl and Schwarzenegger will sue them into the next century if they didn't deliver. And what the theme of that restaurant was 20,000 Leagues Under the Sea. They wanted to turn this 25,000 square foot restaurant into a Nautilus, the submarine from 20,000 Leagues. So they were the dog chasing the car, and they won the bid, and they didn't know what to do. So I went down there, and I helped them build this thing, and it turned out fabulously. But what I did was, we had this thing, as soon as you walk into the restaurant, look to your right, and you see this giant wall. It's a bubble wall. And it's large pieces of tempered glass. That's actually bulletproof. And in between the glass walls, there's a solution. It's not just water. And you got all this, looks like seaweed flowing between it. And the water's squirting up. Thousands of bubbles are going through it and going up to the ceiling. Now, what it is, you would build a wall like that onto a space station. And then the sunlight will hit it. Now, think about this, y'all. This is pure, unfiltered sunlight. Now, coming through all the atmospheres of the planet, or the Van Allen radiation belts, you're even above that. So the sunlight hits this algae, and it's pure sunlight. And this algae goes, oh, God! And it exchanges carbon dioxide for oxygen, driven by a chemical exchange of light called photosynthesis. And this thing goes into high gear photosynthesis. I mean, it's like on warp drive. And it will scrub the air of the space station so well, you have perpetuating oxygen driven by the sunlight through the chlorophyll process of photosynthesis. That's what I built. I put it in the wall at Coconut Grove, Miami at I was wanting to simulate a submarine going underwater because it really worked well. It has a 20-degree pitch, and when you come in, you feel like you're on a submarine that's submerging. But I also threw in all the algae and all the other stuff with it and put a sun tracker on the roof that kept the pure sunlight shining on all day long. The county health people came in and measured the atmosphere and said, God almighty, the atmosphere in this restaurant where people are smoking is cleaner than that of the hospital rooms, the ER rooms. What's going on? I showed them the bubble wall, and they were wanting to see if they could replicate that through the entire city. So anyway, that answers the question. It's not barnacles, it's algae, and it's encased. It's not out in space because at total vacuum and 250 degrees below zero and ultraviolet radiation and gamma ray radiation, X-rays, all that stuff would just kill any organism that would be out in it. But what they were looking at was sandwiched algae. So they are telling it. So that's a long explanation, but sorry, I couldn't make it shorter, but that's how it works.
No, that's fine. And people used to laugh at me when I brought that up, and it's good to know that it exists. You know,
it's under glass. It's sandwiched. It's got a containment environment of it that it can work in. But imagine looking at algae on the side of a spacecraft. That's enough to drive anybody nuts. What the hell, you know?
Right. Yeah, and it made me think, what's going on up there? For sure.
Yeah. No, it's atmosphere scrubbers. That's what I built it for.
Well, this is it, folks. No, go ahead. Sorry.
No, that's another thing of mine. all of you out there use a lot of my stuff every day. It take me hours, but I can walk through your house and point out what I've put in your life. And you'll be standing there with your mouth open. Are you serious? Yeah. Like I said, I'm not into putting my name on everything I do.
Well, I'm glad you did it.
But sure. Yeah.
I am.
Sometimes I gave the patent away just so they would put the product out, just so you could get it. So I built it for free.
That's okay. This is our last break, guys. I'll tell you what we're going to do, because like I said, this might be the last time we see David if he does go on these projects. So we're going to talk about the White Sands launch, because I got 3 questions. I'll probably just answer all that stuff for you. We'll be right back. This is a quick break. I'm Joe Roop. This is Lighting the Void. Stay tuned.
To Lighting the Void Radio.
Poor water quality is a major health issue, and it's only getting worse. Municipalities can't keep up, standards have dropped, and pollutants are increasing. Where does it all end? It ends by keeping the pollutants outside of your home with HydroCare's advanced systems available at Wave Home Solutions. No less than the best purification materials and processes have been developed by HydroCare to provide you with healthy, clean water for drinking, cooking, and showering. HydroCare far surpasses the competition in removing chlorine, odors, iron, lead, chemicals, limescale, and much more. Don't settle for less when it comes to your water. We'll take care of the toughest water problems for you, whether it's from a city or well source. Satisfaction guaranteed. For more information, call 888-997-WAVE. That's 888-997-WAVE. Or go to bestwater123.com. That's bestwater123.com.
Wave Home Solutions for a healthy, comfortable home.
The truth is out there.
There's something out here.
And so are we. KTOK Digital Broadcasting, The Fringe FM.
All right, everyone, this is Justin from the UK. Excuse the chitty. If you're into the Fringe and you want to hear the brass tacks, my old china plate, Joe Roop and his guests on Lighting the Void will open your mince pies. You need to shut your north and south and use your 10-speed gears and listen to them bubble. You could hear a Barry Crocker, no Brussels, but he ain't no holy friar. Anyway, you beat a Barnaby Rudge and take a butcher's.
So, you love talk radio? Then you'll love TalkStreamLive.com. TalkStream Live is always on, 24/7, with the best streaming talk shows. Find your favorite talkers and discover some new ones. It's free, readily available online or on mobile with any smartphone or tablet. Finding your favorite talk shows all in one place has gotten a whole lot easier. Just go to TalkStreamLive.com. Be sure to download the free apps from Google Play or the iTunes App Store.
Hello, this is Vance Nesbitt. Take the time to expand your mind by listening to Lighting the Void with Joe Roop right here on The Fringe FM.
Follow The Fringe FM on Facebook and Twitter at The Fringe FM. Lighting the Void is proud to announce Mind and Magic's Protection and Defense Course for protection from magical and psychic attacks. This is not a joke. Magic practitioners are on the rise, and with that comes attacks from baneful or black magicians that try to harm or hurt others for their own selfish reasons. If you are not a believer in psychic attacks, then this isn't for you. If you are, and you want the power to defend yourself and your family and home, then I highly suggest you grab Freighter Xavier's Protection and Defense Course. In this course, you will learn how to tell if you are under attack from a natural source or if an individual is attacking you. The 4 forms of curses and attacks. How to remove self-imposed curses. The correct way to cleanse your home from negativity or malevolent entities. How to make your own holy water. What you should always keep near or under your bed. Herbs that banish negativity and promote purity. The most powerful banishing rituals on the planet. And for those that seem to want to harm you the most, how to put your enemies in a hell pit of their own making. You can also learn protection against shadow people and other entities. Or are you just in a bad planetary alignment? Even how to get rid of an enemy using a tic-tac box. It does not matter what your faith or belief is, this will work. Click the banner on the website at lightingthevoid.com or go to lightingthevoid.com/Xavier. Want to know what's on The Fringe FM? Check out our schedule at thefringe.fm.
to call Joe, pick up the phone, dial 1-800-588-0335, toll free from the United States or Canada. You're listening to Lighting the Void Radio.
All right, so we're here with David Adair. I guess the best story, in my opinion, is got to be the launch. Now, the one thing that got me, David, is when I first talked to you the first time, I did investigate on my own. Of course, I had to, because I never got to talk to you. This was before the first time, and the first thing I found was the story of Jan Williams, and Jan Williams was no pushover, who not only validated that one of the most far-reaching details about that people say about you is that the U.S. military secretly gave you support to build your rocket in 1969 under the direction of Curtis LeMay. Colonel Bailey Arthur Williams was assigned to oversee the design. That the rocket was created by you and launched from White Sands, New Mexico to Area 51. Now, I no longer, have questions about that happened. I'm taking your word for it, especially based on the research I've done. I think it really happened. But
it did.
What about, so I want to know a little bit about the details, like what happened when that thing took off. Did anything unexpected happen? What did we not see,
Yeah, it was, it was a circus from minute to go. Here's what happened. We was Colonel Williams and I, flew out of Wright Pat in Dayton, Ohio. We were on a C-141 Starlifter, and me and Pislam and Colonel Williams, we headed out to White Sands Proving Grounds. So we land, and we get the rocket out of the aircraft, and we go over to a hangar, and I start doing some preparations. And I noticed Colonel Williams is always watching the runway. And I asked him, I said, "Are you expecting a date or something?" We have worked together side by side at that point for 26 and a half months, nonstop. And so I got to know him pretty well. And if people doubt all this, all you got to do is call Maryville, Tennessee, ask for the probate judge, and ask who was the executor of the Colonel Williams estate, and you'll see the name David Tyson Adair. How do I Photoshop that? So that's how tight I was with him. So I'm standing there, and he told me, he said, and I was warned by Von Braun that if this little white-haired German guy shows up named Arthur Rudolph, you're going to have just unbelievable problems, and he'll take over everything. And boy, I tell you what, old Warner Von Braun, Warner was dead on target with that. So I'm back here working on Pislam and prepping it up, and sure enough, here come a black DC-9 landing at Wright Pat, or not Wright Pat, but White Sands Testing Ground. So I asked, I walked up to Colonel Williams. We're watching it taxi up to the hangar, and I asked him, "Where's the white bunny head?" Because if you don't know what I'm talking about, at that time period, Hugh Hefner had a black DC-9. He had a white bunny head painted on the tail, and he would fly it around the country. So I said, I thought Hugh Hefner was coming to watch the launch. And I'm trying to make a joke with Colonel Williams, and I'm looking at him, and he is not smiling. He is not happy about nothing. And he said, "Just watch who comes off the plane." And sure enough, here comes 4 or 5 dudes in black suits, white shirts, skinny black ties, wearing mirror sunglasses. And they all came off first, and then here come a little guy, gray hair, older fellow, looked like somebody's grandfather. And he had khaki shorts on and a shirt, dressed a lot like the crocodile hunter, Steve Irwin. And he came over, and I heard Colonel Williams goes, "We are in trouble." And from what Von Braun told me, I went, "Damn, this looks like Arthur Rudolph." So Rudolph walks up to me, and he says to me, who are you? And I went, oh, I'm nobody. Who are you? He goes, oh, I'm just a guy who looks at new technologies for the government. I understand that you must be the teenager, David Adair, that built this new type of rocket engine. I said, yeah, I guess I am. So I know he's lying to me because I've seen pictures of him before in von Braun's office.
Yeah.
They came over together in Operation Paperclip. So we got over there, and he asked to look at Pistolum. And I said, sure, let me open it up for you. And I took a big bar of metal, weighed about 3 pounds, and it fit in my palm, and I slid it down the hole. And when I did, you didn't see any seams or lines, and all of a sudden you see the seam, and the side panels lift up and move away for you to look inside the rocket. That device I'm using is called dissimilar metal lock. You ever heard of it?
No.
It's old technology. It was invented in World War II. Perfect for making seamless, like a hull of a rocket. It's perfect. Arthur Rudolph looked down, took the metal bar in my hand. What is this? I think it came from your country. It's a dissimilar metal lock. Haven't you seen that? And he's all perturbed about the lock. And I thought, if he's getting this perturbed about the lock, he's going to love it when he looks inside this thing. So I'm on the opposite side of the rocket of him. He's on one side of it, I'm on the other. So he bends down to look down in there, and I drop a light in so he can see everything. And I lean right over where his ear is, and I say to him, you know what? This engine... Oh, by the way, Arthur Rudolph is the primary architect of the F-1 Saturn V Apollo moon rocket engines. He really is a rocket scientist, and he created the most powerful rocket engines on Earth for NASA. Huh. NASA gave him the most distinguished service award. That's the highest award that they can give a human being. However, this guy didn't deserve that award because he had killed over 100,000 people personally at Metalworks in Peenemünde, where they're building the V-2 rockets. If you made a mistake, he'd disembowel you and hang you from the rafters by your intestines until you smelled so bad the guards had to get rid of you. Yeah. Real welcome wagon hostess type person. But
charming.
That's your winner of the Distinguished Service Award of NASA. This is all real, people. I'm not making it up. Look it up on the internet. It's all historical facts. So he's leaning over and looking at this rocket engine, and I bend down by his ear, and I tell him, you know what? This rocket engine has 1,000,000 times the horsepower of your F-1 Saturn V rocket engines, Arthur Rudolph. And, man, he jerks up real fast. He is red as a tomato. He is so pissed off. His veins are standing out on his neck. And he said, who are you? And it sounds like German accent. We have ways to find it. He went, who are you? And I went, I'm just a kid that launched rockets out in cow fields in Ohio. And I just pissed him off more. He was getting really upset, and he really disliked me because he couldn't fathom how did a 17-year-old get so far ahead of everything and has this star in a jar in front of him. And so we just went downhill from there.
Yeah, I bet.
And so he tells me to prep it for launch, and then we went to the nose cone, and he wanted me to change the guidance system on it, the coordinates. I said, well, it's all standard off-the-shelf stuff. Where you want to bring it down? I could bring it right down within a mile of us. We could walk over and pick it up. He wanted it to come down at a very precise location, which put it about 456 miles north, about northwest of us. And that put it, I went and got the maps and looked at it in some place called Groom Lake, Nevada. And I'm going, wow, why are we putting my rocket way the hell over there? And look at your airplane. You got rubber tires under them wings. you're going to a dry lake bed and you're going to plow up to its belly. You'll never get out of there again. He just told me, shut up and do the work. And I could tell things were getting bad. Colonel Williamson did not get along at all. And then finally, next day at lunch, we've got it out on the pad. We had a helicopter out to the farthest. They put me on the farthest pad that they had. Smart. Because I have no idea how this thing's going to behave in launch. So you don't want to be launching it near other platforms.
Right.
So we're way out on the fringe. I mean, at the edge of the whole damn base. So we're about 2 miles away in a blockhouse, and we're looking at it. And I said, well, it's time to launch. Start, ignition sequence start. So I get everybody, we flip the switches, and it's starting. And then Colonel Williams, I don't know what possessed him. He's standing right next to me, and he asked me, turned and looked at me, and said, well, David, we've been at this for 26.5 months, yeah, 24/7, yeah. He said, when did you do the test on the containment of the field? I said, you've been with me every minute. When have I had time? This is the test. And he goes, oh, God. And now Rudolph, who's normally, with his nose up in the air, hell, he's listening now. And I said, well, this is a test, Colonel Williams. And he said, what if the fields don't sustain? Well, we're going to be looking at a sun just 2 miles away. Instead of 93 million miles, it's only going to be 2 miles away. I said, if you're concerned about it, see that flat concrete wall behind us? Jump up and do a jumping jack. It's going to leave the coolest shadow on the wall. And he goes, oh, God. And he jumps across the table and hits the red button and shut it off. And Rudolph is, he's dropped his clipboard. He's looking at me. He's, not quite so arrogant and sure of everything right now. And he said, this is the test? Yeah, right. That's exactly right, Rudolph. So he reaches for the button. It's too late. It's now on internal power. Basically, the rocket's on automatic. It's under its own power now. And something that's illegal in rockets, as far as rockets go. My rocket had some illegal things on it that worked really well. This thing is packed with nuclear batteries. We had nuclear batteries back then, and they were powerful. So it's got its own internal sequence going, and you can hear the things start vibrating on the tables everywhere. And Colonel Williams asked, what's that? I said, I think that's probably the cyclotron spinning, and they're going to be moving up to where they can spin the elements to the speed of light, and then we collide them.
Oh, my gosh.
Yeah, William went, oh, God, and I said, relax, you won't feel a thing. And the rest of the people in the block room have quit talking, and they're all just staring out the windows at it. And Rudolph had just given me the strangest look. I couldn't read what it was, a mix of pissed off and scared and confused.
Helplessness, probably.
Yeah, something he never experienced before, I bet. And glad I could render that to him. But it's winding up out there. And finally somebody yells, what's that? You hear a lot of that in this scene. So I look out there, and it's flames coming out, and it's first orange, reddish, then they turn white, then blue, then clear. That's the temperature rising up out there. My engine internally runs at 100 million degrees centigrade. That's about 10,000 times hotter than the core of the sun. So anyway, and I have the magnetic fields extended out past the rocket fins, so it won't burn them off. So this is all just, the noise and the vibration was unreal. Then there's this white light that came out that looked like a welder's arc, But this welder's arc looked like the size of a semi. And you know what that is? That's detonation, chain reaction, a nuclear chain reaction. Basically, we're looking at a sun just 2 miles away. And you know what the color of the light is, the intensity? The luminosity is 1 million candle power per square inch. Bright enough for you? That's the same brightness as the sun. Standard suns across the universe. So it's so bright you can't see anything. And then there's this explosion, and it is horrendous. And we see the shock wave coming across the desert floor. And there's some, we got a phone call in on Art Bell show, and it was this old guy, you can tell by his voice, he's really old. And he said, listen to that story, I wanted to thank y'all for something. And Art went, for what? I worked at the Proving Grounds for 42 years. There was only one day in the history of all that where the entire range was shut down, and that date was June 20th, 1971. We were told, everybody stay in your buildings, don't go anywhere till you hear an all-clear siren. And he says, now I know what it was. That was you guys doing your launch. I said, that's exactly right. The only people out were the security guards. And when that blast ring came across the surface, the first blast ring, I saw it hit those poor security people. They were grabbing on the telephone poles and stuff. They looked like flags in the wind. It was so bad. And then everybody looked out there, and there's nothing. You know, just no rocket, nothing. Everybody thought the rocket blew up. And I knew better. I knew what happened. It launched so fast. You expect to see rockets, you know, how they start off slow and get faster and faster and faster and gone.
Right.
How about it's instantaneous? I mean, fast as you can sneeze, it's gone. Out of sight. You didn't even see it leave. But somebody asked, what's that out there? And it looked like a white tornado. And it's at the pad, and it's all the way up to the clear blue sky and disappears. And it's spinning. And everything out there, I mean, gantry towers, ladders, platforms, scaffolding, vehicles, anything that was out there started going up this white tornado. It's sucking it up. And I had to think for a second what that was, and somebody asked me, what is that? I said, I believe the rocket has left so fast it ripped a hole in the atmosphere from the ground to the edge of space. And we're about to find out how much nature abhors the vacuum. And sure enough, no sooner I said that, another person, same person, keeps saying, what's that? It's all this white ring coming from space. And it's moving really fast. And when it does, it slams into the pad, which now everything's gone. It's sucked it up like a vacuum cleaner.
Wow.
So that ring hits, and there's a secondary explosion, concussion wave coming across the desert. And just as these poor guards were getting up out there, they're hit again. They're grabbing hold of the poles of their back, swinging in the air. Well, I was thinking, damn, what a day they're having. So,
I got a couple minutes left here, David.
Okay, well, they're asked me what that was. And I said, I think that's the atmosphere closing at the least point of resistance that would be up in space. And it's like you squeezing the tube of a toothpaste. It's the atmosphere closing itself all the way back down to the pad.
Yeah.
And then they said the red phone goes off on the table. It's ringing. And William picks it up, and it's NORAD. And you can hear the guy on the phone says, what are you people doing out there? I said, had a civilian rocket blow up. Well, that civilian rocket is at 125 miles, and do you see the speed it's moving? And I said, yeah, like Mach 37, I think. And he said, do you see where it's going? Yeah, it got to the apogee point, or perigee, and it's collapsing over on its trajectory, and it's heading straight for Groom Lake. And the guy on the phone said, do you see where it's going? I said, yeah. Okay, as long as you guys know it. And they hung up, and that was the launch.
That's awesome, man. Thank you so much for coming on the show, David. I really appreciate it. That was a great...
No problem.
I had a great time. And we're out of time, folks. You go check out the website, americasfallfromspace.com. That was David Adair, everybody. And, yeah, I hate to rush out of here, but I had to hear that story. And you can catch the archives if you missed it. And don't forget that this show was produced by the Fringe FM and cannot be rebroadcasted or syndicated without written permission. And music was by Chronox Bundy and Kevin MacLeod. We'll see you guys tomorrow night. Thank you so much, David. This was so much fun. I love talking to you, man.
No problem, man. David.
Good night, guys.